Cajun capital of the world.
I'm the average Lafayette, Louisiana kid.
See, I'm back on my...
Hey, fellas. Hey, Brady Review said, congratulations. Say what's up, y'all. Yeah!
People that have courage don't have no extra gene. There's no difference in you. The difference is, are you going to sit down when it's time to stand up?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of Rage and Review. Postgame edition. Cajuns, as we all thought may happen. We were hoping did not happen, but it did happen. Cajuns dropped the series to the Troy Trojans, 2-1. And honestly, boys had a chance to sweep the series and somehow found a way to play themselves out of 2 wins this weekend. We will take a quick break. We will thank our sponsors so we can get that out the way because our sponsors pay the bills. And when we come back, we will get into all 3 games of the weekend. Don't go anywhere. We'd like to thank the following partners who make Rage and Review possible. Our title sponsor, the Best Stop Family Market, with locations in Katy and Baytown, Texas, Toledo Bend, Karen Crow, and of course the official location opened in 1986 in Scott. Visit the Best Stop and ask about the Rage and Review tailgate platters. Gulf Coast Bank, title sponsor of the Tailgate Show every Saturday, 3 hours before kickoff. Planet Radio 106.7, Lafayette Roofing, The Yard Goat, Yes Please Branding and Marketing, Old Time Grocery, Stride Safety Solutions, Eat Lafayette brought to you by Lafayette Travel, Rage and Hydration, and Dr. Brett Venable at Recovery Chiromed. And we'd also like to thank our Patreon sponsors listed here. For only $2 a month, you too could have early access to uncut interviews before they air here on our shows. You also get an exclusive Patreon icon next to your name on Cajun Threads, the official message form for Rage and Review. If you are interested in joining as a Patreon, visit us at patreon.com/Rage and Review. Thanks to all of our corporate and Patreon sponsors for making this show possible. And of course, thanks to the Best Stop Cajun Market locations in Katy and Baytown, Texas, Toledo Bend, Broussard, Karen Crow, and of course, the flagship in Scott celebrating 40 years. We got my boy Natty Daddy with the swag from the Best Stop. I'm going to try to play this. We're going to see if I got it to download property, but I do, before we get into the discussion of the 3-game series, want to go to the post-game comments from Dags. Let's see if we can hear it, guys.
Thank you, Jay. Well, tough ending right there, coach, to that baseball game. You got a good start from Ty Roman to get this thing going, and then, scored throughout the ball game, really kind of never really got that big blow to get, really distance yourself. But, a 6-run lead at one point, but just not able to hold on to it.
Yeah, 6-run lead. I thought we played very well offensively and score 11 runs. You expect to have really good chance, and we did. Weekend boils down to a 5-run inning on Friday and a 7-run inning today, and what was it, the 7th, and we just couldn't stop the bleeding. And catch a fly ball out there. I mean, that kind of started things. There's a tweener in between shortstop and center field, and I think we make that play. Maybe it's a little bit different inning, but credit them for battling back. And they're extreme. You've got to put them away in this ballpark. You can't get enough runs, and Ty did give us a good start. We played pretty good defense for the most part. Like I said, just couldn't put our finger in the dam, stop the leak, man.
You've talked about the offense the last 2 days, how this weekend. They have strung some hits together, been on base a lot, and got some big hits throughout the weekend. I know you're happy to see that improvement, especially as we get on the backside of this season.
Well, yeah, if we can just get both sides going together, we're going to be we're tough to beat right now. We're just going to be real tough to beat. And, look, it could have been a totally different weekend, but found a way to get a game. And, we could have had a series very, very easily. Could have had a sweep, but both teams are probably saying that. So it's a crazy league, man. You just got to mount up and get ready for another good team on the road next weekend.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll talk to you Tuesday night back home. Safe travels.
All right, thanks, Babo.
The problem I have with that is we didn't have the big hit to go ahead. Guys, we were ahead of them 6 runs in 2 games and blew it. I'm sorry. How many runs do you need? 15? And then like today, we went behind, and then we had Spolita come up, who was due. He hadn't hit all weekend. And they got the 2-run homer. And then what do? We load the bases and give up a granny. So how many runs do we need? What is pulling away from a team? Are you telling me 6 runs isn't enough in a freaking ball game to win it in the Sun Belt Conference when you're up by 6 in the 7th? What is enough runs, KG? I don't understand. What is enough runs? We can't depend on the bullpen, or are you making poor pitching decisions? Because we got to talk about Friday night and how that's kind of it was the premonition for how the rest of the weekend would go. But we're a couple of pitching decisions from sweeping the series, or we're a couple of breaks from getting swept. I don't understand what is pulling away for this team, KG. I don't understand. Like, I thought that was the most, and I love Bab, but I thought that was the most ridiculous. You didn't get ahead enough. How much do we need to get ahead? We need to be up by 10 runs to be safe in a ball game now in the 7th inning? This is inexcusable. Like, we're right now on the pace that we're on, the trajectory we're on, even after beating Southern Miss 2 out of 3, we ain't going to qualify for the Sun Belt Conference tournament, boys. And this is a team that was ranked before going into Texas State. Something's not jiving here. KG?
So if you would have told me before the weekend started that the Cajuns would go on to have 3 straight games with double-digit hits and 24 runs scored in 3 games, with the way that we've been hitting and the way that we've been pitching, I would have told you, especially coming off of last weekend, Nick, I would have told you we swept, right? And you hit the nail on the head, or I should say Dags talked about it. You give up 5 runs on the Friday night in 1 inning, and then you give up 7 in 1 run today. I was talking to Mike in the lobby before you got here, and even in yesterday's game, in all 3 games, we allowed the Troy Trojans to score at a minimum at some point in the game 4 unanswered runs, including yesterday. Because and we're going to go around the horn, and we'll talk about each game individually. But the Cajuns yesterday in the lone win, the Cajuns were up 7-2 in the bottom of the 5th and never scored again. And Troy chipped away until the 9th inning, where it got really tight, and Garrett Carter was able to, shut the door for a 7-6 win. But the point I'm getting at is that even in the win yesterday, you still you didn't separate yourself. Like, you allowed them later in the game to get back into it. Very disappointing weekend. Unfortunately, I called it. I was the pessimist of the group on Thursday, and I called that the Cajuns would only win 1 game. But I want to say this. I did not think that we would win 1 game in the fashion that we lost the other 2. I'm going to preface this before I say it. Credit to Troy. And what I mean by that is every opportunity that we gave them to get back in the game, they took it. And I'm talking about all 3 ball games, including yesterday where they almost pulled off a comeback to almost take that game. But all in all, boys, Troy was all but begging you to sweep them this weekend. They were giving you that Friday game. They were giving you the Friday game. And then you gave it right back to them. They got some life, and they ended up winning that one. Yesterday, I talked about it enough. And then today, Barry McKnight on the TV broadcast was talking about how they were throwing pitchers that have limited innings this year, and they just want to. Skylar Meade just wants to see what he has out of these guys. They were throwing guys that had not thrown all year. They were all but throwing in the towel on this game. They were begging the Cajuns to just get out of Troy, Alabama, and take it 2 out of 3. And we turn around and we snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. very reminiscent of the JMU series earlier. Now the Saturday, the Sunday game against JMU, or maybe it was the Saturday because that was Easter weekend. The Saturday game, JMU beat us soundly, but it's very reminiscent in the way that JMU was begging the Cajuns to just take the game and run with it and put it away, and we couldn't. But the thing that is different is that was an offensive problem, when we went to Virginia. Offense was not the problem this weekend, and I want to make sure I show my offense some love. I also want to show my defense some love. 0 errors this weekend, boys. 0 errors. And we were trending kind of I'm not going to say we were down, downsliding, but we were trending down. We were starting to make at least an error or two in every game. 0 errors all weekend long. So to go on top of the offensive stats that I just rattled off to y'all, if you would have also told me you're not going to make a single error all weekend, I would have probably told you, yeah, we sweeping. And, moral victories are not a thing, especially halfway through the conference schedule, or more than halfway now. More victories are not a thing, and it's about wins and losses now. But yes, we should have swept this weekend, and instead you're leaving Alabama with 1 win. And it's very disheartening in the way that in the way that we lost those games. Mike, I'm gonna let you give your thoughts on your overview of the weekend, and I'm sure we'll dive into the game by game statistics and breakdowns.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed all that. If we're being realistic, this is the type of team we could have swept because Troy's pitchers were not that good all weekend long. I'm
going to go out on a limb and say that Troy was nowhere near as good as Southern Miss was last weekend, and Southern Miss played shit game. I think Southern Miss was light years ahead of them. We somehow won 2 out of 3. Yep. We just, on a silver platter, said, hey, Troy, yeah, we don't want to win. Here you go. Yeah. That's what we did this weekend.
Well, we played to competition. We talked about it. This team, it's out. The story is out about this ball club. They played a competition. You got Southern Miss, top 10 team that came in last week, and you played them tooth and nail, and you got it done. This weekend, you go on the road, which, Troy, like I said, is a tough place to play, but they were a sub-500 team. And guess what? You played to competition. You allowed an average ball club to stick around, and like Dags said, we couldn't stop the bleeding. So, Mike, I'm going to let you finish, but I'm sure we'll dive into the coaching decisions. And I want to make sure I say this. The coaching decisions were questionable at best. Honestly, I'm going to just say they're bad. It wasn't even questionable. They were bad. But when you put your guys in those positions, no matter what your role is, you have to perform. And unfortunately, multiple times this weekend, our players didn't show up in key spots. So,
sorry, Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to step on you, but I had to say it.
You're good. Like Cole, you nailed it right there. Coaching decisions, questionable, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you got to hold the players accountable. Like, you have to perform on the mound. But for once, like all year we preached, our hitting is not good. Our hitting is not good. Now these guys barreling up the ball. We get multiple home runs. We batted 314 on Friday, 389 on Saturday, and I believe we batted 270 today. We had really good hitting this weekend. No errors, like you said. Like, we finally get the offense that we've been looking for, and we have great defense, and the back end of the bullpen lets us down.
I just, going back to Friday night, how things got started, and I'm gonna go back to what Renee asked. Serious question, y'all think it's a coaching problem or execution problem? Well, when I look at Friday, I think it's a combination of both, honestly. Because you have Cody Brash in the game. He goes 5 1/3 innings. Probably should have pulled him in the 5th, but that's fine. So he goes 5 1/3. Then we bring in Ty Roman, who can't get anybody out. And we just leave him out there. It was clear to everybody. You don't have to be a baseball genius to see the guy doesn't have it tonight. And we've done that so many times this season where part of it's execution. Like, if you bring a player in, you expect him to execute. But at the same time, we've seen this movie before. Why don't we have a guy up and ready to go if he doesn't have it on that given night? He might have it tomorrow. He might have it Sunday. We've seen pitchers come in and blow it on Friday night and come back on Sunday and absolutely shut the other team down. We've seen it. But sometimes our pitchers just don't have it. I can see it. You can see it. All 3 of us can see it. Everybody in the chat can see it. My 91-year-old dad can see it at home. But for some reason, smartest guy in the room syndrome, oh no, we're going to stay and Ty Roman's going to get it done. Well, guess what? He didn't. Cost us a game. Sawyer Pruitt came in, slammed the door, couldn't get timely hits the rest of the ball game. Last night, almost blow a lead. Not going to really get into Saturday because we ended up winning. But it's the same thing today. You have you when you saw Sawyer come in and not have it, we all saw it. We all saw it. There was no secret. Sawyer would probably tell you he didn't have it. But yet, we're going to stick with him and put him in a position to lose. We're not putting our players in a position to win. So to answer you, Renee, yes, part of it is execution. You expect the guy you put in to have it. Like, they've got one job. You pitch, throw strikes, you try to stop the bleeding in certain circumstances. And for God's sakes, with 2 outs, just get somebody out. Don't give up 4 runs. Couldn't do it because we don't have anybody ready to go because we're putting all our eggs in a basket here. I don't understand it. Why can we sit here behind a microphone, 3 idiots talking baseball and figure it out, yet we see the same thing happen every weekend? Are we overthinking? Are we overcoaching? Are we clueless? Are we fighting between a pitching coach and a head coach? Are we trying to micromanage that again? Like, something is not jiving at this point in the season where everybody sees what you're doing is not working, yet we continue to do it. KG, I'm lost. I don't know. And I'm just a fan seeing this, and you're just a fan, and you're just a fan, but all of us see it. All of us see what's happening. All of us can predict what is going to happen next, it seems like, except the guys in the dugout making the decisions.
So I'm glad you kind of phrased it that way, Nick, because, and I'm going to go back to the post-game comments that Dags gave. Giving up 5 runs in an inning, 7 runs in an inning, and couldn't stop the bleeding after that. All of those runs were allowed by one guy. You had multiple opportunities to go out and get that guy in all of those ball games, and you didn't. You allowed them to sink. And, you know, if you want to teach a guy a lesson like in a midweek against Grambling and you want them to learn how to get out of jams and you leave them in a game, that's different. This is in the middle of your conference schedule in a must-win game. A must-win game. So, yeah, that's the common theme of the weekend. We left our pitchers out to dry. Now, I'm going to go back and say it again. When you're in the game, regardless of who you are, you have to perform. You're expected to perform. You know, regardless if you're a starter that's being asked to relieve or a reliever that's being asked to start, it doesn't matter. Execution matters. The coaches cannot execute for you. That is absolutely true. But to be said, I'm going to use Friday as an example. The story was Cody Brash. I thought Cody Brash gave a quality start. He didn't set the world on fire. I don't think Cody Brash would even tell you that. He wasn't the elite. He didn't have the elite stuff that he had, you know, at the end of ball games against Southern Miss and XYZ. But he gave us enough to win that game. And then in comes Roman, and Roman goes a third of an inning, 1 hit allowed, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and a hit by pitch, no strikeouts. And it took the entire, we let them crash and burn out there and get them completely back into the ball game before we made the move to Sawyer Pruitt, who, Sawyer kind of fell apart today, but he did a really good job on Friday, and I want to make sure I give him his props for what he did on Friday. Through 2 1/3 inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. That's what you expect Sawyer to do. But let's talk about Friday real quick. Ty Roman has been your Sunday starter now, or your midweek starter now for a month and a half? He hasn't thrown in relief since, I couldn't even tell you the last time. Maybe Kansas State, maybe. And now you got him coming first out of the pen on Friday. Why? Where's Parker Smith? Where's Hayden Pearson? Where's Garrett Carter, who's been throwing really, really, really well? Where's Pappenbrock, who hasn't been setting the world on fire, but has had some respectable outings as of late because of his new arm slot and things like that? Why are you trying to bring in a midweek or a Sunday starter first out the pen in a relief role where he hasn't thrown relief in 2 months, a month and a half? He's not comfortable doing it. So I question that wholeheartedly. Now, I will say this. I never questioned Sawyer Pruitt not coming out first for the Friday game because with a 4-run lead, and we all thought this way, we have a big group message. I was expecting with that lead to bring in one of the guys that I just named and save Sawyer for a Sunday start because Sawyer Pruitt is a starting pitcher on this rotation. We have seen him relieve. He did it against LSU and he shined. We know he can relieve, but he's a starter. His stuff is he is a starting pitcher on this ball club. But then we blow the lead, and you bring in Sawyer Pruitt. So you just wasted your 3 best arms on this team, or 3 of your best arms on this team, in a game in which you lost. Sawyer Pruitt should have not been anywhere in that ball game unless we had the lead. To me, bottom line. But that's Friday. And I mean, like you said, we got what we got out of Herman. I'm glad that Herman had a pretty good outing on the road. It's something that we haven't seen from Herman on the road maybe since DBU. Where we were able to get the win there, felt good about it. We pretty much dominated that one as well. We were up 7-2. I mean, hit the ball well. And then Sunday, I'm going to stop here because I think we need to talk about Sunday today in detail.
This guy's begging for attention. He's a Troy fan. He's asking for. We already said Troy. They took advantage of all the opportunities.
Yeah.
Did you not watch? But did you not watch the entire series and saw how we literally handed every single thing to Troy on a silver platter? And yes, you guys took advantage of it. And we literally said that at the beginning of the show. But I get you one attention. Congratulations, you beat us, as many other teams have this season.
If he wants some Troy attention, he can try to find a Troy podcast that's doing a post-game show, and they can.
Well, I don't think they'll have him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what I'm saying. So you came to a Raging Cajuns post-game show where I'm going to talk more about my team and what we didn't do this weekend rather than sunshine pump yours. Cat, y'all tried everything to give us a sweep this weekend. Everything.
They didn't hand us anything. Well, we didn't hand them anything. They played so well.
Trojans took it, he said. Okay. Anyway. So no, I'll turn.
He didn't watch the games. He literally didn't watch the games.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. But anyway, go ahead, Mike. Your turn to kind of.
Yeah, they literally gave up double-digit hits to a team hitting 200. But yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
So I don't know which game we're jumping on, but I don't want to be all over the place. But Friday, my thing was we had no midweek game, right? So all these guys are 5 days rest. These guys should be fresh. Ty Roman, that is my thing about questioning Dags. I don't think he should have never come out. He hasn't pitched on a Friday in months, so he shouldn't have been that guy to come first out the bullpen. And also, in the same time, you're fresh. You got 5 days rest. He should have been more electric. He should have had more command of the zone. 1 hit, 3 runs, 3 walks, 0 strikeouts, and a hit by pitch. You got to be better than that. If you're a Sunday starter, you're on a 5-day rest. You got to be fresh. So yeah, he shouldn't even have been in that situation. So that is my thing questioning Dags. Why was Ty Roman even a thought? And then on the backside, Ty, you're on a 5-day rest. You're fresh. You got to be better than that. Sawyer comes in. He's the hero. He looks fantastic Friday night. But like you said, we saw multiple pitchers pitch multiple games. So as a hitter, if I saw you Friday and I see you Saturday, I'm feeling more confident. I'm feeling more comfortable because I already saw you. And even on the win that we did have Saturday, it came down to the last strike for Carter. So the back end of the bullpen just weren't there. And I thought Pappenbrock, he had a really good outing, and we take him out. You take him out, and then you go Sawyer Pruitt, and you leave him to get 5 runs off Sawyer. I mean, Pappenbrock,
with no one warmed up to step in because he already pitched on Friday. So, okay. Yeah. Let's see. The lineup's already seen Sawyer Pruitt. So let's see if he goes in, struggles, we got somebody behind him. No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to put all our eggs in the basket and say good luck.
Some of those arms aren't fresh after you pitch 2 days later. I mean, there's going to be a little tightness, a little soreness. I mean, but Pappenbrock goes 1 1/3, 0 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, and we pull him. And then you go to Sawyer that just didn't have his stuff. And it's not a shot at Sawyer. We know Sawyer's legit. He's a Friday night guy. It is completely just mind-blowing.
Let's stop here. Why was my Friday night starter on a Sunday relief, the fourth one out the pin today? Why was Sawyer Pruitt in the ballgame today with a 6-run lead? Can anybody want to answer me? Why was my Friday night starter the 4th guy out the pin on a Sunday with a 6-run lead? And I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm glad that you mentioned that, Mike. Why would you pull Pappenbrock out right there when he is having his best outing in the last month? Why would you not use that opportunity for him to go as long as he can and create momentum, create some confidence? What we've been begging Pappenbrock to do is have a good outing to kind of reinvigorate himself, get it back here between the ears, build some confidence for himself. and you go to the bullpen for Sawyer Pruitt, who has no business being in the ball game on a Sunday with a 6-run lead. And not only that, you leave him out to dry. Where's my Sunday stats? They're right here. Two-thirds of an inning, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, a walk, and 0 strikeouts.
It's almost like we set up our guys to get in their heads. I mean, because we leave them out to dry, and then it gets into their heads, and then shit like this happens. It's like we put them in a position to not succeed, and we've said that all season. You're not putting the guys in a position to succeed, and then when they don't succeed, you're like, oh, well, we're shit. Well, put them in the right position, and they're going to do what they need to do. But the pitching decisions, I see Chuck saying pitching decisions today sucked. They sucked all weekend, bro. They sucked from game one when they went with whatever rotation they went with. We all said, what are we doing here? And that put us behind the 8 ball the rest of the weekend. It started on Friday night.
Bingo, because with Brash throwing Friday night, which I didn't have a problem with, because when Brash is on the mound, it's hard to knock that. He's your best arm. He's got the best stuff. Throws 97 with a wipeout slider, right? So I could see the thought process of wanting to get off to a hot start, win that Friday game, and set yourself up for the rest of the week.
But also, you're going to get about 4 or 5 innings out of him. You're not going to get 7.
Bingo. But as a staff, or as a coaching staff, I should say, you had to have known once you use him on the Friday, he's done for the weekend. So you were taking your most reliable reliever out the gate. You knew you weren't going to have him the rest of the weekend. So you already kind of put yourself behind the 8 ball to begin with, and then when it backfired, we were really behind the 8 ball. So yeah,
we'll go back to Southeastern. We put Herman in. He gets blown up in the first inning because he should have never been pitching first inning against Southeastern in the midweek. And then after that, we were screwed because we're just piecing it together after that point. We've made so many decisions because this is a must-win game that never worked out. It's like we're out coaching ourselves, and I want to understand who's making those decisions. I really do. Like, is it a decision coming from the head coach overruling the pitching coach? Is it the pitching coach making the decision? That's what I'd love to know at this point. Does it matter? No, it doesn't, because we're still not making the right decisions. But I fully back Sandy, and I've seen what he did in other pitching staffs at Marshall and other places. And this is not the same decision making he had at the other places. So that's why I'm questioning who's making the decisions at this point. It feels panicky, and it feels like the last 5 freaking years that we've had on the mound, where we're seeing the same thing we saw 5 years ago, and we're on our 4th pitching coach. Why are things not changing?
Well, I'm not going to go that far into it, but as for the weekend, and you could see it in these comments.
I went there.
No, and I'm glad you did. I mean, we need to. I mean, but for the weekend, the point stands is that we left our pitchers out to dry far too long when the common eye can see that they didn't have it. Like, why were we waiting until these pitchers give up 4, 5, 6 runs in a single inning? Like, if you see that they're walking multiple batters, hitting people, they clearly don't have it. And we're not in a position, we're not good enough as in the bullpen to allow that momentum to build. Like, if you see 3, 4 batters in that they don't have it, go get them. And like you mentioned, Nick, there should be somebody warming up with that reliever that comes in. We should basically be warming up 2 guys at a time. Right? You should be going.
And I don't care if it's a guy who's a bridge pitcher getting ready that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of success, but you know what? He can pitch to 2 or 3 batters until we have a guy we trust behind him. Something better than just leaving a guy out to dry because we don't have anybody warmed up.
That's all I'm saying. Like, it's leaving people out to drive today. And my last question, and I'm sure we'll talk about it too, is where was Victorian? We were told all week long, Landon Victorian's ready. We're going to see him this weekend. You would think a 6-run lead on a Sunday would be the perfect time to get Landon Victorian in there and get a couple, get some work in. Where the hell was Landon Victorian? Why didn't we see him today? A 6-run lead on a Sunday against a team that was all but giving you this ball game. Their commentators on TV literally mailed it in when they were down by 6 in the 7th inning. Where was Landon Victorian? And I'm just giving an example. It could have been Murphy Brooks for all I care. Apparently he's ready to throw too. I just don't understand the decision why my Friday guy was the fourth out of the pen on a Sunday with a 6-run lead. Sorry, Mike. I know I keep cutting you off, but I'm pretty heated tonight, my brother.
And also, like, I don't know. I look at it maybe a little different. I'm looking at it like 50-50. The choices on the coaches, absolutely. But also, I want to hold, like, the players accountable, respectfully. I mean, our best middle relievers, Parker Smith and Hayden Pearson, didn't have their stuff all weekend. Those are our guys. Those are our number 1, number 2 guys out the pen, middle relievers that have been great for us all year. And they just didn't have their stuff in multiple games. We saw them multiple times. And look, it's hard to pitch. You come in, and then you come in again the next day, it's hard for a pitcher, right? You got to go through the whole process, all your pitching motions. You got to go in the bullpen. You got to do everything. I get it. And it's hard for them to do it multiple times in a weekend. But we have a lot of arms out there, and we saw the same guys this weekend. We saw the same guys multiple times. And the decisions are questionable, yes. But also, man, our guys kind of didn't show up on the back end of the bullpen all weekend.
I agree. But we've had this problem all season, Mike. You got to be prepared for what if he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And we're not prepared. We're going all eggs in the basket and saying, well, you just go do your job. Well, I get that. But we've seen this movie before. We know how it ends. Go get I don't know, man. It's tough. 866-454-RAGE. If you want to call in, we'll go ahead and open the phone lines. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Getting a lot of comments out here. Do you guys think we're going to make the conference tournament? As of today, no. By the way, with that loss today, we're third to last in the conference. We're 1 game out of 4th, and the bottom 4 don't make the tournament. That does not put us in a good position. We're talking about a top 25 team going into the second week of conference play, and now we're in danger of not making it to the conference tournament. And I kept saying it. I've been saying it for the last few weeks, and it's been kind of ignored, like, oh, it's too early. Well, guys, we're third to last in conference, a game out of 4th place, which still doesn't qualify. Where are we going to find those wins?
And not only that, you got to go to Jonesboro next weekend against Arkansas State, which is as scrappy as Troy was this weekend. That's a very hard place to play against a very well-coached team. You still got Coastal on the table, who is the big dog in this conference and it's a very hard team to beat right now. And then you got one of the Georgia schools in between that, which I'm hoping that's going to have to be the weekend that we have a very good weekend. That's going to be the saving grace weekend.
There's no guaranteed win on the rest of the schedule.
I don't want to hit the panic button this early, but Nick, you're not wrong. They only take, the bottom 4 of the conference don't make the tournament.
They do not. And we're 2 games out of making the tournament right now. So we got to somehow, in all of this, make up 2 games and hope people lose. I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation today is mind-boggling. It's crazy to me. KG, let's go. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike, and then we'll go to the phone.
Yeah, just real quick. You go from our auto bid, probably safe to say that's out the window. Now you got to win the tournament to get in. And now we might not even qualify for the tournament. So it's a sinking ship that we just can't get over. And we finally had the offense this weekend. That's what's frustrating. We finally had the offense this weekend that we've been asking for all year. And we should have swept. We blow 2 games this weekend.
And that's I don't know.
It's comical at this point. It's funny.
Let's go to the phone lines with the guy who said he couldn't be on the show, but then calls in immediately. Jerry, what's going on?
Why do you have to do that?
Well, why do you have to do that? Literally, you could have just come in.
I'm actually because I'm at the grocery store running errands, Nicholas. Okay, I'm at the grocery store running errands because Jerry's got to cook tonight. So anyway, look, no, Mike.
He didn't have all day, guys. Yeah, he had to go at 5:49 to cook dinner at 6. Okay, go ahead, Jerry. What's up?
Hey, stay on topic. Look. That could have been a sweep this weekend. It could have been a sweep this weekend. It should have been a sweep this weekend. Look, we've been complaining about hitting for the last since game 1. Do not blame the lack of hitting this weekend. The bats did exactly what they were supposed to do to sweep. And I'm more as much as as upset as I am about today. I'm more upset about Friday night, only because the original plan was to go Cody Brash followed by Sawyer. And from what I was told yesterday morning, I don't know who made the decision, which coach made the decision, but they decided to do a quick reaction and switched to Ty at the last minute instead of Cody, or not Cody, instead of Sawyer. And look, I like Ty. I thought he actually pitched pretty well today, but when you make a knee-jerk reaction like that, it makes me kind of question what's the line of thinking. And then when it backfires, and then Sawyer has to come in and basically bail you out and pitch a gem of a relief performance on Friday, it kind of makes me wonder what's the logic behind it, in a game that should have been a win.
Here's another question I have for you, Jerry. Why is a pitching coach not going out to the mound every pitching visit? Because you see it you saw it with Robe, you see it with Oz at Southern Miss. Like, you never see the actual pitching coach go out for Southern Miss. That's because Oz is basically the pitching coach and Gunner's there for analytical stuff, learning under Oz. So you get that. But why isn't the pitching coach going out to the mound in pitching situations? So that leads me to ask, who's making the pitching decisions? And if it's not Sandifer, why is he not making the pitching decisions?
Well, I don't want to speculate anything, but
I do. I don't care. At this point,
look, some of you thought. I mean, there was that video after that 5-run inning that we gave up, after Ty had to go in and then they put Sawyer in to finish. I think it was bottom of the 6th on Friday night. And then you see Sandy and Dags, they looked like it looked like a pretty heated conversation. The camera was on them for about 10 seconds before going to commercial break. And I'm a little curious as to what was said. And I'm kind of curious as to who said what and why, and it probably goes back to that decision on putting Ty in. Maybe there was somebody said, hey, maybe we shouldn't have done that, or maybe, I don't know. All I know is that was a game that should have been a win, and I thought the coaches overthought. I thought they outcoached themselves, and it backfired. And that's where, now it's like do or die. There's no choice, but this was a weekend after, like Mike said, we got the whole week off. You just won 2 out of 3 against a good Southern Miss team. You got momentum, you're rested, you're ready to go, and just poor in-game decision-making cost us a series which should have been a sweep. Now, I think, that the players are the ones who play, but at the same time, it's up to the coaches to put the players in the position to win the game. And I thought Friday night, the pitching decision, I thought that was strictly on coaching. Today, Cole, you mentioned it. I thought, look, when Sawyer went in and it was 9-3, I think he loaded the bases up, and then he gave up, a 3-run RBI double. It was 9-6. We should have had 2 guys in the pen ready to go at that point. He should have been taken out when it was 9-6. Instead, we keep him in there for 3 or 4 more batters, and then he scored 2 more runs before we put in Parker Smith. So, just in-game decisions like that just make me scratch my head and wonder why do we do that? And look, I'm not a coach. I'm not getting paid to be a coach and make those decisions, but at the same time, sometimes it goes beyond coaching. It's common sense. And again, that's what was the most frustrating to me this weekend. It was 2 losses which should have been a sweep, and then on the positive side, I mean, Colt Brown, Rigo, Josh Lim, Blaze Rodriguez, they all hit the ball this weekend. They all did a great job at the plate. They got on base. We got a bunch of timely hits. Like, the offense actually did pretty well. Even in spite of the freebies they gave us, we took advantage of it. I mean, when you score 11 runs, that should be good enough to win the game. Hell, when you score 6 runs on a Friday, that should have been good enough to win the game. So, I mean, look, it's a little bit of both. I thought the coaching lost us the game on Friday night. But, yeah, we got our backs against the wall, guys. There's really no other way to put it. And we did it to ourselves. I know one of the Troy fans wanted to make a comment. And, look, I'll give credit to Troy for taking advantage of our blunders. But to say they fully took it, nah. We gave that game away on Friday. And I thought we blew the game today. I thought we were the better team, but we just happened to lose 2 out of 3, guys.
I think anybody with 2 eyes and baseball knowledge understands that we gave 2 games away this weekend. But again, credit to them, as you said, for taking advantage. We certainly didn't.
Exactly. And look, it doesn't get easier, right? It doesn't get easier. I think we got to regroup for Tuesday night against Grambling. I was going to say I was kind of prepared before giving up that 6-run lead to say, yeah, I don't like it in RPI, in the case of RPI, but now.
Stop talking about
absolutely
RPI. It
win
doesn't
no
matter.
what
RPI doesn't matter anymore.
It's over.
We're
It's over.
so I don't want to hear
then you
anybody
go to
talking about RPI shit. It doesn't matter. We have to win the tournament to get in at this point. If we get in the tournament.
You got to go to Arkansas. Yeah, you got to go to Arkansas State. You got to go to Arkansas State next weekend and put on a show, and hopefully don't repeat what you did this weekend. Also, real quick before I go, I'm going to give a shout-out to the softball team this weekend, because after that rant that Coach Allison Habits went on the other night, and look, softball is definitely, I would say they're underachieving, but I got to give credit to the girls responding the way they did with a sweep of a Coastal Carolina team that beat us 2 out of 3 last year. So obviously they answered the call to what Coach Habits had to say after that just terrible LSU loss on Tuesday night. So shout out to the girls. Let's keep it going there. As for the baseball team, I guess the only other answer is just come back Tuesday ready to play and beat Grambling and get ready for Jonesboro. Anyway, guys, great show. Talk to y'all soon.
All right, see ya. Yeah, I'll talk about softball later. I'm still pissed off. We'll get to that. I promise. The girls get plenty of love from us. Right now, I still need to rant about this. A lot of people getting their opinions in. I agree with Justin. JR got touched a little bit. He got some of that sink back. You saw a little bit more movement on his pitches. I agree with you. The funny thing with Blake Cavell is that he acted like he was a big old he hit me on purpose. Dude, nobody's hitting you on purpose to load the bases in the freaking bottom of the ninth. I get nobody's doing that, you idiot. Yeah, you got hit. We got plunked all weekend too. I mean, that guy's just a me guy. He's a tension whore. Oh, look at me. I'm so edgy. Whatever.
He didn't do
Let's talk
much
about our
anyway.
But no, let's talk about our offense real quick. I guess I'll sunshine pump our guys for a little bit because we've been kind of holding
it's
the
not
pitching
sunshine
staff.
pumping. It's a fact. They did really, really well offensively. And
Yeah, well, let's talk about
we've been shitting so much on the decision making. I guess we kind of left that out.
I personally think Colt Brown was the star of the show this weekend offensively. Had 7 hits in 3 games with 6 RBIs. I want to say maybe 3 doubles if I'm calculating it right here, maybe even more than that. Josh Lim is another guy that sticks out to me. Josh had a really good weekend with multiple doubles. Rigo had another coming out party, a resurgence. Rigo did very well. All in all, I really can't say. I know Spolita kind of scuffled along this weekend, but look what happened today. He was able to put a ball over the wall and take a late lead that we thought might have been enough for us to be able to hang on and win the game. So there was really nobody in this batting order that disappointed me this weekend. And that's something that we haven't said all year long. I would say UC San Diego was the last weekend that we had anything reminiscent to what we saw this weekend. But I think this is the first time all season that we've had at least 10 hits in 3 straight games. So yeah, the offense absolutely showed up today. Again, shout out to Colt Brown. I think he was the star of the show. Like I already mentioned,
Give some
Josh
love
Lim.
to Mark Collins, man.
Yeah,
Mark Collins came out of nowhere, dude.
No doubt. Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. There's nobody in this lineup offensively that really disappointed me this weekend. Like I said, Spolita kind of did up to today, and then he got his shot and was able to, get a ball over the wall and take a late lead. So even he did, something productive in the lineup when he got his chance. So, no, man, I have nothing but love for the offense, and I know we kind of have beaten them down the last month or two, but the offense is the furthest thing away from the reason why we only won at 1 game this weekend. And especially, like we mentioned, the defense as well. No errors all weekend long is all you can ask for. They were really good defensively. So, no, shout out to the position players. They held the water. It's just, the pitching staff and unfortunately questionable bullpen management.
I'm just going to go with the pitching decisions, not necessarily against the staff, because I'm always gonna pull for our guys, even though I may be wrong. Look, they choose to represent Louisiana, and I'm never going to shit on a guy publicly. I might say they need to be better, but I'm never going to say that they're terrible or stuck at their jobs. And I don't think anybody's stuck on their jobs. I just think they should have been put in a better position this entire weekend.
Well, let's have a real conversation, Nick. We're grown-ups right here, right? We're all. Yeah. I'm 32. I think I'm the youngest one on the pod right now.
Yeah, rub it in.
No. But I'm making a good point. I'm a 32-year-old man at this point, and if you would take me out of my daily routine, that would throw my entire day off. What do you think you're doing to 18 to 22-year-olds when you're asking them to do things that they have not done all season long? They're not even grown-ups yet. They're young adults, but you're asking these kids to do things that are uncomfortable, and then when they don't come through, like you get offended when you get pressed with hard questions about why the way that you were thinking about how that could have played out of the decision makings that grown-ups are making. Like, don't be mad at the fans for wanting answers on why you did what you did in the positions that you put. Like I said, we had starters coming in relief. We had relievers making starts. And then when you win one game in the weekend and you're left to ask why, well, don't get offended because people are asking you why. We need to know. We need to know that thought process, because you just threw a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds under the bus whenever, like I said, when a grown-up, when you take him out of his daily routine, would struggle in that situation as well. So that's what I got to say, man. At the end of the day, yeah, you need the guys to execute. I've said this 3 times on the show already. You need your guys to execute regardless of the role that they're in, but let us not forget these are still young men. It's not like you got 50-year-olds that are calling the shots, putting them in these positions.
I do like Jamontre saying we're those fans in the outfield from Major League. Wow, thing, you made my butt sting because you're terrible. It's true. But when things are going well, man, we're on the good side of things. No, I agree with you, man. And in the end, it's a game and it's supposed to be entertainment. But at the same time, we have standards at this program at this point. And this is just one. Like with football, I mean, we got good a couple years, but historically we've not been great. Softball needs to pick it up, and we'll again shout out their performance this weekend. But baseball has always been like the go-to. Like, we're going to year in, year out be competitive. And what's crazy to me, guys, is that last year was bad. Last year was really bad. And regardless how bad it last year was, we still made the conference tournament. There was no question halfway through the season, are we going to make the tournament? We were just like, oh man, we're terrible. Are we going to make a regional? Now, like, we've regressed, and I feel like we have a better lineup, and we have better players, and we have a better bullpen, and we have a better coaching situation, and we're questioning whether or not we're going to make the conference tournament.
Let's have a hard conversation here. Why are we relying on sophomores and freshmen to carry the water on this team?
Well,
No. But we've been talking about the way that we've used Sawyer Pruitt a lot of times now in the 45 minutes that we've been on air. Sawyer Pruitt, let us not forget, guys, is a true freshman, an 18-year-old. He might be 19, but an 18, 19-year-old. And he's got the weight of this entire program on his shoulders. Why? Dags has been here for 7 years. Now, listen, and I want to make sure I give Andrew Herman his love. Andrew did a good job. You know, Andrew on the road, you never really know what you're going to get.
Dude. He's
Andrew's
a competitor.
A man. He's going to go down in the likes of Andy Groh, right? And what I mean by that is he might not have set the world on fire statistically, but he's one of those guys that is always going to be in the back of your mind, because he's an absolute bulldog, and he's not scared to throw 130 pitches and give you everything you ask of him. That's the kind of guy that Andrew Herman is. But outside of a guy like Herman, why are we relying on a true freshman arm to be the end-all be-all for this program? Right? And just that's what we were told.
You know why? Because we did that to SEMO. Because we did it to SEMO, and SEMO worked out because he's a badass, one-of-a-kind guy. Just a guy that you'll never find again. And we expect this other really talented pitcher to come in and do the same thing. You can't do it's unfair to him, man. Twice in one weekend? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
he should have been shut down after Friday.
We're not talking about a fifth-year starter, right? We're talking about a true freshman getting thrown into the fire and then being expected to produce every single time he takes the mound. But like I said, I question why he was even in the game on Friday, because he had no business being in the game when we were trailing in that game. If you're going to bring in Sawyer Pruitt, it should be when we have a lead and let him close the door. And then today, why the hell is my Friday starter coming in relief, fourth out of the bullpen in a game which you're up 9-3? We didn't need to see Sawyer Pruitt today. Sawyer Pruitt did not need a bullpen day. He threw on Friday. What the hell was Sawyer Pruitt doing in the goddamn ball game? These are questions that need to be answered. So, yeah, don't be mad at the fans for getting fired up about shit like this, because you are burning through a true freshman arm, which we talked to Jeff Pruitt religiously at the tailgate. Love Mr. Jeff. And he is thrilled that his son decided to be a Raging Cajun. They love it here. But you're making it really damn hard for a young man to appreciate being here when you're burning through him like this. And it's firing me up because that is grown men in that dugout that is supposed to be protecting a kid like that. A kid. He's a kid. And we're not. So grow up, grow a pair, and start making the correct decisions before his ass is going to be down the road in Baton Rouge or in the portal somewhere else.
Well, hopefully not Baton Rouge, because I think their bullpen's worse than us there, Mike. I don't know.
I was just thinking that. I hope we don't scare Sawyer off. We have to find a way to get him back, because at this point, I mean, I don't blame him. At this point, I don't blame him. He put his name on the map nationally. He's got the stats to back it up. He took down the SEC. He took down the Big 10. He took down the Big 12. This cat can take down anybody he throws against. I just hope he doesn't leave. I hope he doesn't get frustrated and aggravated with the staff, with the support behind him. We have to get him back, and I just really hope he doesn't go anywhere else.
I'll just say, let's take a step back. We do have 3 more series this season in conference. I think there's time to figure it out. I don't think it's time to push the panic button as far as guys leaving yet. But look, I think all of us at the end just want our guys to be put in a position to succeed. And for some reason, and it doesn't matter the pitching coach from year 1 to today, we've been through BJ Ryan, we've been through Tibb, we've been through Gunnar, now we're with Sandy. There's something that has transpired through all of those pitching coaches, and it's the same thing where we push the panic button at some point and we're like, oh shit, let's panic and do this that is completely out of character to what a typical pitching coach would do. That's all I'm saying, is that there's something that is happening year after year after year. And going into this season, I was told by a very reliable person within the inside of the program that said, as long as our pitching is good, Sandy is not going to be micromanaged. Micromanagement was a problem in the past, but as long as everything is good, nothing goes off the rails, Sandy's going to be good. First sign of something going wrong, it seems like, here we go again. All signs point to everything we've seen. Again, big picture. Like we're not talking about small sample size. We're talking about big sample size. We've seen this for several seasons. Are we crazy, or am I an idiot for thinking those things? Are these people idiots for thinking those things? And when you get softball questions on your post game, doesn't make you feel good about it, Oh well, we hit the ball well, but just couldn't get it done. And then he said, if you go back and listen to what I played earlier, he said something about, if we'd have made a couple more plays in the outfield. What are you talking about? A couple plays in the outfield? Did you hear that, Cole? Am I imagining those things?
No, but that's been the post-game shows on a Learfield broadcast forever. You're not going to – they never, ever, ever press coaches in a post-game show.
Well, that's why they get access, because they don't ask questions.
The only time you see a coach get pressed is if a guy like Jamarcus a couple weeks ago kind of, held the mic to him and we got a true, honest answer from Matt Dags for the first time all year long, and the fans loved it. Because this honesty, rah-rah-ree bullshit, we see through that. Cajun baseball fans are very knowledgeable baseball fans. And if you're going to sit there on a post-game show and just spoon-feed a coach a little layup softball question, we don't want to hear that shit.
This is it right here. Just missed the big shot. You scored 11 runs, dude. You were up by like 9. Like, how much bigger of a lead do you need?
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't
that's
understand
it. But that's how it's been forever, Nick. You can't listening to those post-game shows are almost, it's not even worth the listen because it's never anything honest. It's all coach speak.
You know what I appreciated is that we got to interview Skylar Meade over the week, and you want to talk about a guy who's honest and he doesn't bullshit. He like tells you, like, I asked him a question, like, and he's like, I'm not going to give you coach speak. I'm going to give you the honest answer. And then he went on his answer. Like, I appreciate that out of a coach, man. A lot of people will try to bullshit you and go around the world and And he's like, no, that's credit to him, man.
Here's what I love about Skylar Meade. There's two different types of coaches here. You got a type of coach that wants to put his thumb on every single button that he can because he's the dictator. He wants to call every shot. And then you got a guy like Skylar Meade who openly on the show, Nick, when you interviewed him, said, I just let my guys be guys. I just let my dudes be dudes, right? Who am I? I recruited that kid. Who am I to tell him who to be when he gets here, right? What he did up to this point is what got him at Troy University. I love that kind of coach. Why do you need to change every single thing about a kid, especially when you're the one who went after that kid for being who he was? So that's what I'm saying. We had two different coaching styles there. You had, and I mean, I'm just going to put a name on it. You got the Matt Dags who wants to put his finger on every single button, and then you got Skylar Meade who just lets his dudes be dudes. And you saw what the result was this weekend. Troy took advantage of every single opportunity that we gave them back because they gave us a lot of chances. But we gave them back a bunch of them, and they took advantage of it. Again, I tip my hat to Troy. They had a really good weekend last weekend against Texas State. They took 2 of 3 from us this weekend. They're trending upward. They're going to make the tournament. We only got a month left on the schedule, boys. Will we make it? We're going to have to start winning ball games. We don't have much room to drop any more season, series. And lastly, I'll even say this. Somewhere in between, we're probably going to have to sweep a series. You're going to have to dig deep and find a sweep somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be against whatever Georgia school. I always get them confused, State and Southern, whichever one we're playing. You're going to have to either sweep them or sweep App. I doubt we'll be able to sweep Coastal. Coastal's just an absolute machine right now. And then Arkansas State, we always play Arkansas State tit for tat, kind of like we do with Troy. If we go up there and sweep Arkansas State, I would love it, obviously, in my heart. But I just think that would be an extremely tall task. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's just the unknown right now is a very uneasy feeling.
I'd love for them to prove me wrong, Mike.
Yeah,
I don't see what series win do you see the rest of the season? Maybe against one of the Georgia schools we play, maybe. But that's not even guaranteed at this point. And I don't know, man. I'm just this weekend took the air out of any positivity I have for the rest of the year. Prove me wrong, Mike. Prove me wrong.
This series basically, like it just felt like a punch in the gut. It felt like the season ended. It felt like it just ended. Our chances of where we're heading just kind of went south after this weekend. I don't think this team is built to sweep teams. We did sweep Maryland, that was way early in the season whenever we were hot. I don't think they're built to sweep. And frankly, I don't know how many series we're going to win from here on out. Maybe a couple. They're not built to win every series from here on out. I think they put themselves in a really big bind right now.
866-454-RAGE. We would love to hear more comments from listeners that are chiming in the comments, and then anybody else out there in the world that is listening. We'd love to hear from you. They're projecting us to be 13-17 in conference play. It would put us not in a good position, buddy. I feel like there are going to be books written about the downfall of this team from top 25, because after the point of us reaching the top 25 ranking, I've never seen this before. And I've also never seen, and I tweeted this out earlier today, I've never seen a team ever bring in relief pitchers at some point of the ball game and be wrong so often and completely collapse. That has been something that has been, I don't even, inexplicable. Like, how do you always make the wrong decision going to the bullpen and it always results in a collapse, KG?
We talk about this every year, guys. Every year we are not prepared. We're literally still gambling and guessing halfway through the conference slate every year. This is nothing new, right? So this year we're a little more consistent with our batting orders and lineups. All of us would agree with that, especially in the infield. There's really no movement, which I love. I love consistency in your infield.
I do feel we're better with the lineup this year, and it makes more sense, the moves.
100%.
So I'll give him credit on that.
No doubt. And like I said early in the year, I'm glad that we have the same 4 guys every game in and out in the infield and behind the plate. So I'm even including Colt in that as well. Your outfield, you can kind of play with a little bit because you have some talented kids, and of course, you're going to play the hot hand. So I don't mind shuffling things around in the outfield. I personally believe Josh Lim has done enough this season to basically solidify himself as an everyday starter. Unfortunately for Donovan LaSalle, I don't want to be ugly, but he is a boomer bust kid, and I have seen way too much bust. The strikeout numbers are not translating to the – listen, if he had double-digit home runs and he had to hit in the middle of the lineup somewhere protective, I would understand, but he only has 6 home runs. I know that leads the team.
But I will say this weekend only, the calls he was getting on the inside corner that wasn't a strike, called strike 3, I'm not blaming Donnie Deuce for that. So, yes, I agree with you, but I'm giving him a pass for this weekend only.
No doubt. The officiating this weekend was horrible, but that is a common theme of every weekend that you're going to see in the Sun Belt Conference. We will never be a true respectable baseball conference until we figure out the officiating problems in this conference. That has been a long-known issue. All 3 days was terrible behind the plate. Terrible. But anyway, I was just mentioning, like, the strikeout to home run numbers aren't justifying itself. I need a little more consistency, especially if you're going to hit at the top of the order. Literally, he's led off the most of the times that he's played, and I can't have a leadoff striking out 3 times a game, which he did a couple of times, the last few weeks. So, I would not be surprised to see Mark Collins get more reps. He did great in his opportunities, this weekend. And then lastly, Noah Lewis. I know he didn't have a great weekend, but the weeks leading up to this one, very consistent in this lineup, always getting a hit or two, so we got the talent in the outfield, and all of these guys can play defense, even Donovan LaSalle, great defender. So the defense is not the problem. It's just, who are you going to play in the outfield when they're hot? But my question to you guys, and I know I'm kind of turning the pages, where do we go from here? What do you expect? Are we going to stay with Cody Brash to start on Friday night, or do you go back to Sawyer Pruitt in his Friday night role? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, he's discouraged now. I know that for a fact. Sawyer Pruitt getting yanked from a Friday starter and being basically put on a back-end bullpen role when we didn't even have a lead. He had to come in. I'm talking about Friday. But, I keep going back to it. He's a 19-year-old kid. So are you going to give him the ball back on Friday night and hope he just picks up where he left off and expect him to throw strikes and get back into it? Or are we going to stick with Cody Brash and have to piece the back end of the bullpen in Jonesboro, which, like we mentioned, is a very tough place to play, and Mike Silva knows what he's doing. So we got a lot of answers that we got to get figured out really quick. We're going to need some help, Nick.
How many times have we been out coached in baseball this year? I mean, honestly, quite a bit. I feel like the rest of the season it's going to be the same thing. I mean, you got
this is going to be funny, and you'll agree with it. I don't think it's getting out coached. I don't think it really has anything to do with that. I think it has more to do with out coaching yourself.
Well,
I think it has more to do with doing too much in any given situation rather than letting the kid. And listen, I was the first one to say that we should have had quick trigger on these relievers. With the way that the weekend was unfolding and the way that the outings were unfolding later in ball games, you have to have a quick trigger on these relievers. If you see them walking 2-3 people and hitting a couple batters, you can't leave a kid out there to dry. You already know where the trajectory's going the way the weekend unfolded. So guess what? If they're 4 batters into their outing and they've already given up a couple of walks and a base hit to score a run, go get them. What are we waiting on? Right? And I keep seeing, where was Bryce Wilson all weekend? Where was Will Taylor all weekend? Where was Landon Victorian all weekend? Mike, you said it. Why are we throwing the same arms over and over and over? It's like insanity. What's the definition of insanity? You do the same shit over and over expecting a different result. So I don't know, man. We have a right to be frustrated, especially with the way we absolutely imploded this weekend. But I don't know, Nick. Like I said, where do we go from here? What are we going to do in Jonesboro? Who's going to start? There's a lot of unknowns.
And you nailed it. Like Sunday, to me, is got to be quick trigger on Sundays. But guess what? By Sunday, you've used all your best arms, right? Towards Sunday, you're going towards the back end. Quick trigger. The thing that I got it circled right here. Pappenbrock had 0 hits. Would you ever take a pitcher out that had a no-hitter? No. He's coming back and prove me wrong. and then I'll take you out. But you have he's got no hits, and then we leave Sawyer for 5 runs. Let Pappenbrock come one more inning until he gives stuff up, and then pull him.
Bingo, Mike. And listen, we already talked about this very early on in the show. I know we're about just over an hour into it, but I'm going to say it again. There was no reason to pull Pappenbrock today, a kid that was dying for a good outing, and he was on track to have a really good outing. Like you mentioned, I'm going to go back to his line because the people that just tuned in, an inning and a third pitch, no hits allowed, no earned runs, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. That's the best line that he's had in a long time. So why would you pull a kid that's having a strong outing when you could have left him in there, give him innings, give him pitches, give him confidence, which is the biggest thing we need from Pappenbrock right now, because we know that he changed his arm slot. We know he has filthy stuff. It's just a matter of him locating, and he was locating today. So why did you feel the need to pull him for Sawyer Pruitt with a 6-run lead? I'm going to continue to hammer that point home until we play Grambling on Tuesday and we're able to wash it away.
And I do like how they made adjustments, right? If we're doing bad, you got to make adjustments. If they did bring Pappenbrock's arm down and they made adjustment, it's working. I like to see that they're trying to make adjustments, and they did, and he was effective, and then we pull him. That was my thing.
You know, Grant is giving some truth here. We have to sweep 2 of the last 4 series to make the tournament. We gonna do that, bud?
I think you have to sweep 1. You're gonna have to find a sweep somewhere in the last 4. I've already said this. You gotta sweep, and then honestly, you're going to have to win all of them. You're gonna have to take 2 of 3 in the other 3. We're in a position now, like we talked about. The last 4 teams in the Sun Belt don't get in, and we're currently sitting bottom 3. So if you drop any more, and listen, boys, I'm not going to push the fire alarm yet because this is a what if, but if we get swept in any of those, it's over. It's over. If you get swept in any of the upcoming month ball games in the Sun Belt, it's over. So yeah, it's nitty gritty time. I would challenge the team to basically start treating it like we're in tournament mode right now. You basically got to treat it like we're in tournament mode right now, and you got to almost treat every weekend like it's a super regional. Go out there and take 2 of 3 to get to the next round. Because if you drop or get swept, this isn't being funny. There's a very decent chance your season could be over if you don't start playing ball now. So it's tournament time, essentially, right here, right now.
So
the Cajun dude here, before you go, Mike, I just want to say the Cajun dude here, if I ask this question to Skylar Meade right now, he would give me a completely honest answer, not hold it against me, come back on next week. But we can't ask that question. I'm going to try to get this very question right here to the press conference this Monday with our media partners at News 15. We'll see if it makes it. We'll see what happens. Because I do want to know this. This is a question I do want to ask. Like, what was the strategy going into Sunday?
It would be one thing if Sawyer had a poor outing on Friday when he came in. Boys,
right.
he shut the door. I mean, 2 1/3 inning pitch, no hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. That was Friday. So it's not like he had a bad outing on Friday that you needed him to wash out of his mouth going into the new week. I just don't understand the thought process of bringing him in today. I don't. Especially because he had such a strong outing.
Nobody's going to ask a question. Nobody's going to ask a question, though. That's the problem we have. Everything is we have to protect something. How about just being honest? I don't know, man. And we just extended contracts for another 3 years, which boggles my mind.
Why did we not bring in Cody Brash with a 1-run lead today? We threw everybody else twice this week.
It would make more sense. But again, look, if somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, but Sawyer wanted to pitch," it's the same thing when I say guys who go too long, but he wanted to stay in the game. Somebody has to be an adult at some point and say no. Or you know what? Short leash. Okay, I'll give you a couple batters. You don't hit it, you're out. No, we had no plan behind Pruitt. That's the problem.
Steven Spalita hits a 2-run home run to take an 11-10 lead in the 8th inning. Why didn't I see Cody Brash? You had no problem throwing in everybody else this weekend twice. Why couldn't we have thrown Cody Brash for 20 pitches?
I'm sorry, right? Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off. Please give us your thoughts. The more we talk about this shit, the more aggravated I get because the adults in the room aren't adulting. They're just flying by the seat of their pants. Somebody has to take control of this team at some point.
And I think I don't want to change the trajectory of the conversation, but like it's almost panic mode. So do you throw Sawyer Friday and then try to get Cody Brash to start Saturday? Because you're almost you're in panic mode right now. You have to win. So do you bring Cody Brash as a starter this weekend series? JR's not. He's not it. He's going down south real bad. Ty Roman, he doesn't give you long outings anymore. It's who you choose from. Like next weekend's going to be real interesting on their pitching.
Well, it makes sense to bring in Brash and then Pruitt right after. And if he doesn't have it, you have a third option. But again, we have no option outside of those two on a Friday.
Let me just say this. Did Brash do something in his Friday start? Which, by the way, I thought was a respectable start. I guess you can qualify it as a quality start. He definitely gave you enough to win the game. Did he do something in his Friday start that y'all believe that Sawyer Pruitt couldn't do if he would have started Friday night? And the answer is no.
No.
Sawyer Pruitt would have gave you just as much and probably put you in the same position to win that ball game. The only difference is he
would have probably give you more innings if we're being honest, because Brash isn't going to give you any more than 5 max.
But the reason I asked that question is all you did, even if they gave you similar outings tit for tat, let's say it was a wash. Let's say they gave you the same. All you did was put pressure on the back end of your bullpen now because your best reliever is out for the entire weekend. That's all you did.
You burn 2 starters and your best closer Friday, and then you make them.
That's the storyline. That's the storyline, Mike. That we're not talking enough about. You burned your best arm in Brash, your best pure arm. You burned your best starter in Sawyer, and then you burned your Sunday guy in one ball game in which you lost. And we're not.
That was a must win. Kind of like, remember when Herm went again? I'm going to go back to panic button, which we did against Southeastern. And guess what? We shit the bed. And we pushed the panic button again Friday night. And guess what we did? Shit the bed. Every time we push the panic button, we're trying to get cute.
No, why are we pushing the panic button? All that does is put pressure.
Well, now you have to.
Well, no doubt. But y'all will agree with this. Every time we put pressure on ourselves, we fold. Every time. So like we saw how well this team plays when they go out to the ballpark and they play loose. Right? We saw it last weekend against Southern Miss on Sunday. Like, we had fun. The fans had fun. The team had fun. You could see it in the dugout. They had a blast on Sunday. But whenever we get to the ballpark and we put undue pressure on ourselves, we fold. So quit putting pressure on these kids. Now, yes, I know they need to execute. We've said that a dozen times on the show so far. But here's the problem. The offense finally executed. We did execute. So that's what is so frustrating is like you finally had the offensive weekend we've been begging for, and you completely shit the bed on the back end and the staff. And it comes down to everything I say every weekend, Nick. We are just not playing complementary baseball anymore. We're not. It's like a football game. Your offense has to feed off the defense. Your special teams got to figure in there. Same thing with baseball. Your offense got to feed off the defense. Pitching staff has to figure it out to feed off of both of those. And guess what? The offense shined this weekend. The defense shined this weekend. And we were left, holding our meat in our hands when it came down to the pitching staff and the back end of this bullpen. So I don't know, man. I'm really disappointed.
Mike?
Yeah, we had double-digit hits in 3 games. Multiple home runs. I just want to give props to the offense. Like, they completely did really well. Colt was phenomenal. Lem, Rigo, Spalita got him a home run. Mark Collins hit one, 411? Props to him. He did really well. God, that's just the frustrating part. 0 errors all weekend. Phenomenal. Offense is phenomenal. And then we don't have the pitching. The pitching that carried us all year weren't there this weekend.
You know what, Nick? I do want to talk about this offense. Look,
before you go, I do want to say I just threw a poll up there. Hit 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you think how many conference games will win the rest of the season, that will be telling from what our listeners think. But go ahead, Cole. Sorry about that.
No, I want to make sure we give the offense some love because we have beat them down all season long. So, but I want to say one more thing before that as well. Shout out to Lee Amadei once again at first base this weekend. Picking and grinning, Cat. He will go down as one of, if not the best defensive first baseman this school has ever had. His career as a Cajun, I'm going to make sure will never be forgotten. Lee Amadei, Mr. Jody, if y'all are listening, we love you guys. Lee Amadei is such a phenomenal asset at first base for the Cajuns. I don't know where we would be without him. But let's go to the offense. I always give three. Look, I have my weekend full of notes. You guys know I take notes on everything. Friday night, Josh Lim, 2 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. Rigo on Friday, 3 for 5, a double and an RBI. Colt Brown, which we mentioned, had 7 hits on the weekend with 6 RBIs. On Friday night, he was 2 for 3 with a double, a walk, and an RBI. Let's fast forward to Saturday's offense. Donnie LaSalle, 1 for 4, but he had that monster 2-run home run early, and he had 3 RBIs to end the game. Colt Brown, 2 for 3, RBI and a walk. Rigo, 3 for 5 with a double. And then lastly today, I don't have Mark Collins, so I'm going to start with Marky Mark. Mark, great weekend. Way to take advantage of your opportunities. I don't have your overall stats on me right here, but you did a really great job of doing what you were called to do this weekend, and I hope we see more of you. But today, Colt Brown, 3 for 3, a double, 4 RBIs, and 2 walks. Steven Spolito was 1 for 4, but he had that go-ahead 2-run home run at the time, and he also drew a walk. And then lastly, Josh Lim, who I think is the starting left fielder of this ball club, 2 for 4, double, and an RBI. So that is a full rundown of your superstars in the 3 games. I have no ill will against this offense. This is the offense I've been praying for all year long, and we didn't capitalize on it.
If RC would read the bottom of the screen that says, please call in to 866-454-RAGE. Yes, we're taking calls. I've been asking people to call in. And then all we have is Jerry, who said he was too busy to come on the show, but then calls in immediately. I don't even know what to say about that.
You know what, Nick? I have a request for you, actually.
Yeah.
So I see your question here, and it pretty much looks like it's a runaway landslide on the answer. Here's what I want. Here's what I want you to ask though. Do our fans believe we'll make the conference tournament?
Okay.
That is it's a fair question to ask at this point because we do have a tall task in front of us. Listen, as asinine as it is to think about that this team would miss the tournament, it's a fair question at this point because we're bottom 3 in the conference and we have some hard series left on the table. Do we have enough in the tank to get in there? And here's what I'm going to tell you, boys. Even if we do get in there, if we're going to be a bottom seed or a bottom 2 seed, you're going to be playing Coastal in the first game or Southern Miss.
Oh, no. We have a play-in before we even get there, brother.
Yeah, so there you go. But the point is that things have got to change now. You can't drop a series anymore, and you certainly can't get swept. My challenge to these boys is to play every weekend like it's tournament time, because that's where we are. Mike, you'll agree with it's tournament time now. You got to play with your hair on fire.
The poll is up there, so hit 1 if yes you think, and in chat, hit 1 if you think we're going to make the tournament. Hit 2 if you don't think we're going to make the tournament. But let's go to the phone lines. We got RC on the line, brother. What's going on, man?
Man, I heard you talking shit about reading. You know I can't read them from Scott.
Yeah, well, good point. You did go to Acadiana High. I mean, back in my day, we had Carol Long, who was the worst English teacher ever. But I don't know about you. I learned how to read.
Well, I had a couple of good English teachers that taught me some other stuff. If you know what I mean.
Man, here we go. We're going to have one of those episodes of The Catch a Predator coming up after this. Oh, RC, what the hell happened this weekend, brother?
I think y'all know what happened.
Yeah, we shit the
Baseball
bed.
Management 101, straight from the top. Started on Friday, ended with today.
What is going to change between now and the end of the season, RC? I don't think anything. I think we are who we are, and we've regressed since last season, but not talent-wise, coaching-wise. Am I wrong?
Well, you know what's so disheartening about this weekend is that we should have been going for a sweep today, and we were struggling and playing desperate to win a game just to win the series.
Well, not according to the Troy guy.
Today it should have been a go home day.
According to the Troy guy, we don't give them any credit, and they should have beat us all 3 games. According to the Troy guy.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, some Troy guy chimed in and he said, "You're not giving us any credit. We should have beat y'all all 3 games." I don't know if he's watching baseball.
Hey, well, you know what? I'll go back to last year and the year before whenever they all tried to start fights. Troy fans are a bunch of inbred bitches. I'm not bitter or anything, but I'm just saying what it is. So I don't give a shit what they say. What I'm talking about is us, not Troy, us. We lost the series. They did not win it. We fucking lost it, and that's it.
Do you agree with the fact that we think that we did not put the guys in the position to win? That's Doug in the background. In the position to win the series this weekend, because I felt like we let Sawyer, we hung Sawyer out to dry. We hung a couple guys out to dry this weekend that we should have been ready to have someone ready to go if it did not work out in the first couple of batters.
Well, I don't think that Ty should have been in the game on Friday, period. You go straight to Sawyer.
Thank you.
Number one.
Well, we all said
number
that.
Number two, shut up. Number two, on today, on Sunday, they should have went straight to Pearson. If you're going to start Ty, you go straight to Pearson. I don't know why you put Sawyer back out there after they've seen him for 4 innings or however many innings he pitched on Friday. I don't know why you put him back out there. Maybe he wanted the ball, but still, that comes from upper management.
But somebody has to be the adult in the room, RC, and say no. No,
exactly.
You know?
And, you know, I'm mad and I am disappointed, but it's kind of it's the same shit over and over and over and over. And it goes back to football. We talk about the same shit over and over. You put the people in place to make plays to win the games. And we're not doing it. We're not doing it. There's no reason you're up 9-2 or whatever, 9-3, and another late inning collapse happens, and we just leave him out there to dry. They got 5 hits off of him. And we're just like, okay, maybe he can get the next one. No, fuck that. Take him out.
How funny is it though? Not funny.
It's not funny.
How ironic is it that the last pitch of the ball game was a grand slam? That is so typical.
I thought it was a ground rule double according to the Troy play-by-play, man.
Oh, by the way, that their production this weekend was dog shit. Now, Barry McKnight is a friend of the pod. He comes on often. I appreciate Barry. He has a wonderful voice. Really great dude to talk to.
But it was terrible.
The production was dog shit. They had the score wrong half the time, the count wrong half the time, runners on base that the bases were empty. They had runner that was an awful production. But anyway.
But the point is, KG, that we still hang guys out to dry, and we're more than halfway through the season with 4 weekends left in conference play, and we haven't figured any of this shit out.
That's a common theme, though, Nick. Like
Ryan, RC, isn't this like I should be used to this, but I'm not, because I'm still pissed off about it.
Yeah, we talked about football. Same shit. It's literally making me sick to my stomach that I'm about to start shitting through screen doors again. That's how sick I am about this shit. It's fucking ridiculous. And I don't care who gets mad about it. I don't care. I think that we need an Allison Habits moment from the head coach and calling our players out to do the same shit, but somebody else needs to step in and be like, hey, man, you need to do the same thing to yourself.
You know, we had a leadership coach in the dugout last weekend. I sent this out to a couple guys. Maybe I sent it out to the whole group chat earlier today, but a world-renowned, very well-known, I don't know if it's called a sports psychologist, but he came out and talked to the team last weekend. He was in the dugout, and you felt like, okay, maybe the guys are starting to get it. But it's almost like, dude, in spite of the talent we have, we just are determined to do the opposite of what everyone thinks we should do. And you feel like it. And Josh and I talk about this all the time. Smartest guy in the room syndrome. Like it's like fuck you and what you think. I'm smarter than you, and it never works out. RC, I'm a little bit frustrated.
Look, hey, and whenever they sent out the lineup earlier, I told you I was like, this is probably my favorite lineup of the year. Not necessarily because of the people that were in it, but the way that they moved people around. They got Donnie out the number one. They put Drew to the bottom. They finally gave Mark Collins a chance, and he came through a couple of times, and then
Spalita
and then
came.
Josh Lim ends up.
Spalita was over 10.
But here's the thing. Yeah, that's the next thing. I got so mad whenever I saw him in the lineup. Whenever I was thinking we were going to pinch hit him, and then he ends up hitting a dinger. So like, you never know what's going to happen with the players. They gotta take accountability for some shit. But it all comes down to the thing that kept us in the games earlier this year and won the games, where we were taking advantage of things, and our pitching was great, and we were scoring runs whenever we weren't supposed to. Now we're scoring runs whenever we are supposed to, and our pitching is letting us down. But I'm not saying it because we have a bad bullpen. I think our bullpen is very average. The back end is very, and the middle is very bad, other than Cody Brash and Pearson. But whenever you put our people in positions to fail, we're going to fucking fail. And that is my biggest issue about the whole weekend. There's no reason why we should be talking about this right now, being so upset. We should be talking about a sweep or a getaway game. If we lost this today on the Grand Slam after we won the first two, that'd be one thing. But we gave them every single opportunity, and they took advantage of it. So what else you got to say?
The funniest thing is I think we had one listener, Mike Aber, chime in over the weekend and say, well, Dags said that this bullpen would not be good this season. Why? Whose fault is that? I want to go back to, I'm trying to find what I said in the group chat, but he said something about, Dags said we should be prepared for this bullpen not being great. Okay, but what kind of success do you set them up for, and why are you involved with the bullpen? And that goes back to micromanagement. And are we going down that route again? Is this what we're doing again? I feel like it is. RC.
Here's my thing about this team, Nick. We've already seen, and we've been told all off season long before the season started, that this is a rebuilding year. This was going to be a rebuilding year, especially after last year. Well, here's the problem. We have the pieces in place to beat good teams. You took two from a Kansas State team that is ranked in the top 25. You swept a decent Maryland team. Like, we've beaten good teams. You arguably could have swept Missouri. I mean,
you should have.
You should have took 2 of 3 from Missouri State. So, like, I don't want to hear anything because we have the pieces to win ball games, and we're not. And it has been a regression. You all year long. You had teams. You were playing against teams that were figuring things out. And since then, those teams have gone up and we have gone down. What is the reason for that? That's what we need to start splitting hairs about that. Where did it go wrong? And you could point to Texas State weekend when you got absolutely slapped around like Ray Rice's girlfriend in an elevator. And I'm not trying to be funny, but we got beat down, boys. So the point is that the staff needs to, the back end, the starters are carrying the water. I will say that. Cody Brash this weekend is not a true starter. He did enough to win us the game. Herman is Herman. I'll never really say an ill will thing about him. He did a great job on the road this weekend, got us a win. And then today was TBD. Roman gets the start, and y'all will agree. Roman did enough today to get us a win. So the starting pitching's not the problem. It's the back end. And it's been the back end since Texas State. And it seemed for a while that we were getting it figured out. But then all of a sudden, we abandoned ship. You start bringing in starting pitchers to be relievers. Why? Parker Smith had proven, and I'm just going to throw names out now. Parker Smith had proven that he was going to be a reliable first arm out of the pen guy. Hayden Pearson has shown you the last 3 weeks that he's going to be arguably your best lefty out the pen, right? So that's what frustrates me. We want to give these guys roles, and for the last couple of weeks, we've given them a role. And then when it comes to putting them in a role this weekend, you abandon the ship. So I don't know what the hell we're doing.
RC, question for you.
I couldn't have said it better. I don't really know what else to say, man. I couldn't have said it better.
Ryan, question for you. Did Doug left the group chat? Are you gonna bring it back in?
Yeah, he went to Miami Moon.
Oh, yeah. My bad. We'll get pictures of that later, and he'll be back in the group. Oh man. Well, RC, appreciate you calling in, brother. We're I guess we'll talk about softball now because that's one highlight of the weekend. But dude, appreciate you calling in.
Nick, before you let me go, can you please tell Thelma to get off of the stream so I can watch WrestleMania?
No,
crack stream?
Dude, I have to let my daddy and my mama watch baseball. So for all of you listening, Ryan had the audacity to call me and say, or text and say, could I use your ESPN stream login so I could watch WrestleMania and the game? And I'm like, no, dude, my mama and daddy are watching. And by the way, I did not know this. You can stream 3 consecutive streams during a normal ESPN weekend, but when it's WrestleMania, you can only do 2. So yeah, sorry, RC. No, you got kicked to the curb, buddy. You take it up with Thelma.
Well, that's horseshit.
Enjoy that conversation with Thelma because she don't even know what a stream is or WrestleMania or any of that shit. She's going to tell you to F off. She's watching right now, by the way. So you keep talking that shit.
I love you, Thelma.
She just wants some more of her pies. I'm going to make some good pies. I'm just saying. RC, behave yourself and tell Doug it's going to be all right.
That's not Doug. That's Seth.
Well, no, but Doug's the one who left the group chat, not Seth. Doug all got mad because we wouldn't let him do something.
Yeah, well, Doug's Doug. That's all I can say.
All right, brother. Have a good rest of your weekend, dude. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh, man. Always good to hear from RC. You never know what's going to come out of there. But good to know he's with Seth and the whole group out at his partio. I'm ready to move back to Louisiana. I'm going to have a partio going, especially when I'm that close to New Orleans for Saints games. And like, dude, okay. So here's my question to you boys. On Sundays for Saints games, if I set up, I've got a studio in my current house in Houston, but if I set up a studio and I get some equipment and have three mics and have 3 webcams and have it like set up, will y'all come eat some food and stream with me after? Like, is that a thing? Would y'all do that?
I would love to. Depends on how my 3 kids are feeling that day.
But also, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. If I got a little pool in the backyard and let your wife and kids go do their thing in the backyard, get in the pool, play the Switch, yeah, maybe.
No, yeah, maybe. You see, now you're learning how to play the game, Nick.
Mike is like, yep.
You gotta butter up the girls.
All right. You know Lane's coming. Lane's gonna find a way to get off of work. Gary's going to say he can't do it, then call in for 2 hours. And yeah. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that guy. Mike, you have any final thoughts for this weekend?
Though there's not really much positive. Just
positive is the offense. Positive.
Yes.
If we want to go with that and our starters got off to a good start.
The best thing that came out of this weekend is that our offense was really, really good and 0 errors all weekend. That's phenomenal. That's what we've been asking for. We got it, and they just didn't have no support.
Cole, final thoughts for this weekend, and we'll move on.
I know some of the boys and their families watch this, and it is reactionary to do a post-game show. That's the Cajun Nation loves it, but at the end of the day, y'all are still our boys, right? So I just challenge y'all you got to get to the ballpark from here on out and treat it like a super regional. Treat it like a 3-game set that you have to win. Because we're running out of time, and if the season ended today, you would not qualify for the conference tournament, which is, that's as low as it gets when it comes to Cajuns baseball. There is a standard here. There's an expectation here. So I just, I just challenge you, and it starts Tuesday against Grambling. Get to the ballpark ready to go. and strap them up and get after it. But it's time to dig deep now. Whether you're a position player, whether you're a starter, a reliever, everybody has to do their job from here on out. So, but bottom line, just want to make sure, I know there was a lot of negatives and a lot of heated conversations today. We do love you boys. We appreciate you boys. Thank you for being here. Just, we got to get it done. It's now or never. It really is. So best of luck Tuesday to you boys against Grambling.
I think the guys are I think they're strong enough to understand. Like, all we want is the best for them. Not looking at it from a fan perspective, but they get it. We're going to call them out on shit that we see. But in the end, again, like you said, KG, I mean, you're the nice guy. That's all we care about. We want the best for the team. We obviously want the best because we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and money into this program, and we want to get a return on it. But at the end of the game, like, we just want the guys to have the ability to be in a position to be successful. And we just don't feel that's happening right now. And we're gonna voice our opinions. Let's take a look at the conference standings right now. Coastal Carolina, for all intents and purposes, will be the number one team in the conference and the tournament coming up later this season. Southern Miss today with a win over a sweep, actually, over Texas State, is now 11-7 and second overall in the conference. A three-way tie for third at 10-8 with South Alabama, App State, and Troy. Texas State, Arkansas State, ULM, and Marshall follow them. And Old Dominion at 8-10 rounds out all of the eligible teams for the conference tournament. With our loss today, Louisiana is now 7-11 in Sun Belt Conference play, which is one game behind Georgia State, who's been not good this season, which means we have to make that up. And then you're followed by James Madison at 6-12, which we lost a series to, which is par for the course. And then Georgia Southern at 5-13. We do play Georgia State later this season, so that will clear some things up. And, that's almost a must sweep weekend for the Cajuns, but I have no hope, guys. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. Make it right. Do what you got to do. By the way, I'm sorry, Mike. I was hiding your face there. But yeah, a lot of work to do, boys, for the rest of the season. Try to get eligible for the conference tournament. It is incredible that we're having this conversation on April 19th, but here we are. It is what it is. We just have to basically, stop crying about it. Don't whine. Do your job. Get through the rest of the season. I do want to take a moment to congratulate the ladies, man. And you mentioned it earlier, Cole, that you wish you had the moment where Coach Allie came out and called out the team, man. She called out the team and said, tired of having a pity party. I can't hit the ball. I can't pitch the ball. I feel like we're embarrassed. And look at what we did against LSU. And we shouldn't have done it. And what does UL do? They go out and host Coastal Carolina, beat them 12-4 in 5 innings on Friday, 8-6 on Saturday, and 8-2 today. They responded, KG. That's what we need to see. We need to see that fight from our baseball team.
I love it. They picked up the torch that Allie laid down and ran with it. And I wish Kevin was on this podcast, because Kevin was the most passionate in our Thursday night show about basically putting down the gauntlet and saying, show up to the ballpark. I'm challenging you to sweep. And what did the girls do? They absolutely responded with a great showing, and they get themselves right back into the fight. So, an absolute shout out to the softball team. I'll have a breakdown of their stats and stuff on the Thursday show. Of course, we focus on baseball on this show, but absolutely want to give them some love for just getting after this weekend against a team that was kind of playing relatively similar ball that they were in Coastal. They were both around 500, and they took care of business at home, which is what Cajun softball is known for doing. So, congratulations, girls. Keep the train going. Keep the momentum going. Don't give it up. Now that you built this momentum, make sure you keep it, because in one instant we don't want to go back, and regress. So I wish nothing but the best for those girls, and I'm glad that we played some hungry ball this weekend. You made a lot of Cajun fans proud, especially the baseball fans that had to sit through, Friday night and today. So Coach Allie and her staff, great job this weekend. I'm looking forward to a strong finish in the Sun Belt slate for the girls.
Yeah, shout out to them. And I hate to go back to baseball, but in the same aspect of talking about softball and needing to get wins, had we won one more game this weekend, we would be 8-10. But at the front end of that final conference tournament spot, because ODU and Georgia State are both 8-10. And so with our record, we would be at the top of that list and out of danger zone for now. Instead, we're firmly in the last three in the conference, guys. I'm sorry.
Nick,
I hate to bring back up baseball in relation to softball, but they're getting it done.
I'm actually glad you did, because there is a question right here. Any update on Dags' dad? We don't have one. We're not that connected into that. But I want to make sure I preface this. I know we gave Dags a lot of heat today. His personal life is so separated from how we feel than him being a head baseball coach. I want to make sure I say that. Coach Dags, I mean, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. I get that what you're having to do in the heat of your dad fighting that fight is extremely tough. And I'll even take it a step back to what I said Thursday, Nick. I respect every head baseball coach across the country that is having to coach in this sphere with NIL and XYZ, on top of also having some family things that it stays in the back of your mind while you're having to coach as well. So I wanted to make sure I separated the personal from the professional. And again, Coach Dags, the entire Raging Review team, we really are praying for you and your family. And I hope nothing but the best for all of you, honestly.
Yeah, I think that it should go unsaid, but I'm glad you said it, because it's the same as, we were very critical of Marlon towards the end of his career here, but at the end of the day, I still like Bob. I have no problem with Bob. He has been nothing but kind to me. His players absolutely loved him. He's very well respected by other coaches. But, sometimes when it's time to go, it's time to go. And no hard feelings, but this is a business. And at the end, wins matter. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, Dags and my brother are close. I know I get shit on, or he gets shit on a little bit for things I say, but there should be no correlation between me, a guy who's trying to entertain fans and have a voice of the fans, versus my brother being close friends with him. I have nothing against Dags. I think Dags is a great person. I love his story. I will defend him. KG, on Twitter, I defend him at including that Blaine Saunier guy who's a piece of shit, who called him an alcoholic and tried to do all this shit. Like, that's uncalled for. This is a game, dude. Like, we're not talking about real life. This is a game.
No doubt.
And so I think people lose sight of that, man. Like, all the social media shit, like, we can talk baseball and not like the way that you coach a game, but at the same time, I got your back 100% of the time. And I think people fail to understand that, make that delineation. Maybe that's because I'm a Zennial and I grew up like just, the tail end of analog, but learning digital. But this digital world we're in now, man, people can say things from behind the screen and not have any repercussions. And when you saw him go off, I had that dude's back, because I agree with you. People can say anything, but when you get called out in your face, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy. Well, no, actually, it's not the case. I love Dax. I really do. As a person, great dude.
And read his book. That's what I was going with that.
Yeah.
Like, he put out his life story about all he had to overcome to get where he's at. I would challenge anybody to read it. I've read it twice. So, I mean, like I said, there is a way, and I know this is funny because we're one of the few podcasts in Lafayette that cover the Cajuns that actually critiques and challenges this staff, because we're not just yes men. We want to hold people accountable, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, we need to quit shining a negative light when you hold people's feet to the fire. Like, this should be a positive outlet for fans to come and call in and ask questions. Shout out to Dave Schultz, another guy that's never been a stranger to, asking hard questions.
By the way, I'm about to bring him on because I want to get his take on the weekend.
Perfect. But lastly, I just wanted to say, I wanted to make sure we wished his family well, and we can definitely separate his professional life from his personal life. Nothing but respect for Dags and everything he's done for the Cajuns up to this point. We continue to wish him the best.
And I want to say something real quick. Like, for me, I'm not in the business of getting people fired. I'm not in the business of getting the kids benched or kicked to the portal. We're just a passionate fan base that loves Cajun baseball. We're a postseason program. Let's be real. We're a postseason program. Our expectations are high. The rope is high. We expect to be in a regional every year because we travel to those regionals. And look, we can have a bad year, and we're still going to show up the following year. We're still going to tailgate. We're still going to support these guys. So, yeah, we are critical. Absolutely. We don't hate the guys. We're not trying to get them benched or kicked to the portal or any coaches fired. I speak for myself. But at the end of the day, I support these guys, right? Tuesday, I'm going to be at the game, watching them, celebrating, supporting them. Next weekend, we're going to be watching them and celebrating. So I just wanted to say that at the end of the day, we still root for these guys. We want them to be successful, and we're just a passionate fan base.
I think the problem's above like a single coach or coaches or whatever. I think there's too much attempt. Okay, so we're going to go Rage and Review after dark. There's too much of an attempt to protect something that doesn't need to be protected. It's okay to disagree and question and ask the hard things, because at the end of the day, we're the paying customer. And I think that gets lost in translation because, TSAB has it figured out. They don't care what you say about them. Any coverage is good coverage. Skylar Meade, you think Skylar Meade wanted to come out of our program? Well, maybe he did. But one of the things he said, I'm responsible for raising money, for coaching a baseball team. I know that's part of my job. We need more of that admittance of what your job is at the university, and guys who aren't too big to say things like, yeah, I'm responsible for raising funds and NIL and going in the community and building a fan base. Skylar Meade was not scared to do that. He just kicked our ass 2 out of 3 games and we gave it to him. I need more of that from our coaches. Dave Schultz, speaking of guys who are a-holes, there's Dave. Just kidding. Only most fans think you hate their team. I don't think that's the case, but what's up, Dave? How are you, man?
People need to understand, right? I'm in this for myself. So the better Sunbelt does, the more, the Sunbelt podcast will grow, right? I don't want 2 or 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. I need 4 or 5. And so I get upset when Southern Miss loses to Columbia and blows a chance to host a super regional, because they would have gone to Omaha and we would have had 2 teams in the College World Series. I shout out to KG for quickly putting it into perspective. When a parent is sick, it is incredibly distracting. So shout out to you for quickly putting it into perspective. Having said that, the Cajuns stink. Let's we're gonna.
Well, let's talk about So you watched this weekend. Like, what was that, Dave?
I watched some of it. Certainly saw that and missed it Sunday because I would. How do you score 25 runs and lose 2 ball games? They had a 7-2 lead. They had a 6-2 lead in 1 ball game. Saw that lead go. They had a 7-1 ball game in another lead, and they almost blew that one. And then they were up 9-3 heading into the bottom half of the 7th inning, and somehow managed to lose 15-11. They stink. All right, right. The kid. Who? I mean, what do they have? Do they have any pitching besides Andrew Herman? Because the kid who blew it on Friday night was the kid who was pitching on Sunday, who actually pitched pretty well, giving up just 1 run in 3 innings. All right. Then
that's what I was going to say.
Blew it on Saturday night. He did blow it on Sunday. There's no pitching. They have Andrew Herman, and that's it. This team can't hit a lick. All of a sudden, they blow up for 25 runs and they lose twice. What are we doing?
Well, here's my question to you, Dave. Sawyer Pruitt came in. He closed it out on Friday. He gave us the ability to win the game on Friday. So I'm not going to hate on him. But for some reason, we don't trust anybody else, including the guy who's in the game, who's shutting the offense down. So we bring in Pruitt again. And instead of having somebody behind him in case he struggles, which he did, we just hang him out to dry.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing, just eventually you got to get the guy out of there, right? Why do I have to wait for 7 runs to come home on 6 base hits? Maybe, I don't know, 3 runs on 2 base hits would have been good, or the other way around. Again, somewhere along the way, the players have to get it done. But at the same time, there's just not enough pitching right now. Because, again, last week against Southern Miss, they won a ball game 6-5, didn't get a base hit after the 3rd inning. And even Southern Miss fans were like, great. I couldn't believe it, level-headed Southern Miss fans. Great series. Cajuns deserve to win. But let's be honest, we didn't play very well, which they're right. They didn't. All right. And this week, give Troy credit, right? They battled back in every single ball game. They had run. Not one of you guys thought, including me, thought they were going to win that ball game on Saturday. 1st and 2nd with nobody out. Not only were they going to get the game tied, they were going to lose it, and they got out of it. Not so much on Sunday. All right. The Cajuns, and so let me quickly calm down a little bit. All right. And so I've been talking about this RPI thing all season long, and we saw it rear its ugly head with the Cajuns this week because you play a team with that RPI that Troy had, and they fell from 41 to 51 because they lost on Friday instead of being about 38 or 39. All right. Hashtag always a bright side. I don't know if you guys saw the guys across the river there, all right, or across the swamp. They lost all 3 ball games to A&M. They moved up 9 spots. LSU was not competitive in 2 of those 3 ball games. They got swept. But because A&M is a top 10 seed or top 10 RPI team, their RPI skyrockets. So, having said that, Cajuns are at 54 right now. If they just kind of meander their way and win some series, don't have to sweep, don't get swept, put yourself at a 45 spot when those Coastal Carolina Chanticleers come in and somehow, I don't know how, win 2 out of those 3, you'll find yourself on the other end of 40, and you could be in the NCAA tournament. So here's again, hashtag always a bright side. If you find yourself good enough to be in the top 40, that means you're playing well enough, and maybe you can do some damage in the tournament. I did hear someone say they're a postseason team. Not really. No, they're not. They've been to 3 regionals in the last 9 years, 10 years. I missed one in there, right? When did they go to Miami? Is that when they won the conference tournament?
We went in Miami in 22. So we went in 22, 23, and 24. Yeah.
Okay, so they've been doing that as of recently. That turned the program. Dags turned the program.
Then 25 was a shit
COVID.
show, and then we're
Correct.
Just carrying that on this year.
Haven't been to a super regional since losing to LSU in the best.
Correct.
In the best sporting event I was when I was in South Louisiana, 10 deep at the box on the concourse,
wasn't it?
10 deep. All right. Right. Game tying home run in the 9th, game winning home run in the bottom of the 9th. Bregman wins it with like a 10 hopper straight over the mound and the second base bag. It was a great sporting event. I know the Cajuns came up short, but they should have won the super regional they were hosting against Ole Miss. They were up 1-0. Someone dropped the ball in center field. Right. And then, they won the first 2 ball games in 16, right? And end up losing to Arizona after winning the first 2 ball games. And really have not been the 2 best runs outside of, I guess, recently with regionals, right? Was 99 and 2000 when they went back-to-back super regionals, and then 14, 15, and 16. I forget, Nick. When did I show up in South Louisiana? Oh, that's right.
I think, well, you were definitely 13, there in 16. Well, 16, 14, when we hosted Arizona, one of our people kind of tried to confront you in the media eating area. And we were like, what are you doing? And she was calling you out on some comments you made on the air, but she failed miserably.
Oh, she failed? Nope. Weren't we all enjoying? See, that was the one. That was when I realized how cool Cajun people were, because they were feeding Pedro Gomez and his kid who played for Arizona in between ball games.
Yeah. Wasn't that
how
cool?
Great was that? Right. So how great was that? But what
but
happened?
Shitting on you at the same time, Dave.
What happened shortly after that 16 season? Do we remember what happened in Thanksgiving at 16? Nobody remembers that.
I don't want to remember, Dave, if we're being honest. Okay. Yeah, that's a shut up, Dave moment, and we move on.
That's a bad moment for me or a good moment?
It's a good moment for you, not so great for us. You called it. I'll just
switch
say.
of a leadership. There was a leadership. Well,
Correct.
Someone may have given me some inside information. We won't allow people to know who that inside person was, but I did confirm it. If you're wondering what we're talking about, knew Scott Farmer was being let go. I had finished it. There you go. A&M in 22, Miami in 23. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they won the conference tournament in 22, right? They didn't win the conference tournament in 23.
Correct.
Right, so that was it. Okay. So anyways, we're talking about Scott Farmer being replaced. And then we've come into what was pretty good for a minute there. A pretty good, actually football, once again, since I've been there, this is the golden age of Raging Cajun football from 13 to 25, right? Where they missed 2 bowl games in a decade and a half.
I feel like you're trying to take credit for our golden age,
Absolutely.
Dave.
It's the absolute Schultz effect.
Yes. Okay, I thought so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying
Keep
to
piling
take
on.
credit.
We're good.
I'm taking credit. 100%. You want to see my 5 minor league baseball rings?
Hey, I got plenty of UL rings. Never played a lick of baseball, but I got plenty of them.
There you go. So, this is the heyday of, the 13-14 season was one of the best years in Cajuns history, right? They hosted a super regional. They went to the NCAA tournament. I think softball won a super regional at home and went to Oklahoma City. That was as
basketball
good a season
won.
as
Like we went through a year that all 4 sports won their conference championship in some tournament or championship. Yeah,
it was really good. But no, the Cajuns baseball, I don't know. They can't hit a lick, and all of a sudden you can't get them out. Every time you looked up, they had a 7 spot this week, and I can't believe they lost the ball game. They were winning 9 be one thing. It was 9-3 in the third. We've all seen the Cajuns come back, put a couple of innings together, a couple of crooked numbers, and all of a sudden it's 9-8 in the 8th inning, and you're sweating bullets. But this was 9-3 in the 7th inning. They should have swept. Going back, they not only should they have swept this series, they should have swept the James Madison series. Although you could say it's not as bad as James Madison. James Madison has given up 78 runs in the last 7 ball games.
They've been terrible, dude.
And that's
Texas
after
State.
taking 2 out of 3 from Cajuns and beating Virginia.
Texas State hadn't been great since we beat them. They won the next series against Georgia State. Congratulations. But they've not really done much. In fact, they've fallen to, Texas State is now at 9-9 in conference. Yeah.
Yeah, they got swept. But because their RPI is so good, they didn't drop very much. They're only at 36. They're still sitting there on the right side of the bubble.
Yeah, thanks to us.
Yeah. Yep. But all of a sudden, Troy, they haven't moved up that much. They've won 3 straight series. They took
at least they're in the tournament today. We're not. We're 7-11. Right.
Yeah,
Dave. Do you think
you got the sneaky Southern Miss South Alabama series this weekend? That's for the number 2 seed. Southern Miss is only 1 game ahead of South Alabama, and they righted the ship. Both teams won the series, and Southern Miss with a sweep. Again, the Cajuns don't have to sweep to put themselves in a position to make the Sun Belt Conference tournament or the NCAA tournament, but they do have to put themselves in a spot where they don't have to sweep Coastal Carolina. They can't do that.
But don't you feel like we have to win literally every series going forward, or win and then sweep some? We're 7-11. We're third to last in conference right now, which puts us 2 games out of being able to qualify. It's not looking good, Dave. With 4 weekends left, and a lot can happen. I get that, but the fact that we're having this conversation 2 years in a row, at least last year when we were terrible, we made the conference tournament. This is borderline.
Hold on, how many teams made the conference tournament?
So the bottom 4 teams do not make the conference tournament.
Correct.
Then they're playing.
They're either 1 or 2 games out.
Correct. Right now at 7-11, then you have Georgia State and ODU at 8 and 10, which we could make up some ground next year because their overall
they play each
terrible.
Other this week. They play each other coming up.
So we could make up some ground there, but then 9-9 is the next. You got 4 teams at 9-9. I'm not saying we're out of it, but the fact that we're having this conversation with 4 weeks left in the season. Concerning.
Yeah, not great.
I'm just saying. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but we talked about it. Dags got extended 3 years. Now, his extension was also I think, a step back in pay, which was part of the extension. Okay. So there is a little bit of like, okay, yes, we extended him, but he also took a cut in pay and more incentive based.
Okay.
But
well, it's not going to be easy. The schedule for the remainder of the season is not exactly a cakewalk. All right. So they go to Jonesboro, which is pretty good because Arkansas State has a 38 RPI. So if you take 2 out of 3 there, you're going to move up. You host Georgia State. That's not going to be easy. Georgia State gave Coastal Carolina. I know Coastal Carolina, won the series, but, it wasn't an easy win of the series. They got App State, and all of a sudden App State is hot. And then they finish up with Coastal. So they're going to earn it if they're going to win this, put themselves in a spot to win it. So just take 2 out of 3 from 4 series. So what is that? That's 8 and 4. And so what does that make you overall?
That puts you at 30 wins going into the tournament.
Yeah.
That would put us at 30 wins.
But 8 and 4 makes you.
That would make us
15 and 15, basically.
Yeah, 15 and 15.
Yeah.
500. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you think 15 and 15 gets you in the Sun Belt Conference tournament?
Well, right now it would. 500 does at this point. I just don't have any confidence in anybody right now. Like you said.
No.
Offense good. Then you can't figure out pitching. But again, I don't think you don't want to put it out on the pitchers because they're not put in a position to be successful. So.
Well, here's why everybody's panicking. We started the year 16 and 5.
We were ranked 25th in the country, bro.
We were talking about winning 20 games before losing. Before
10.
Yeah, 20 before 10. That's the golden rule. And we
11 RPI at 11 RPI.
I mean, so Dave, let me ask you, and I'm sure you would agree with this, that Texas State weekend was the turning point in the season. I mean, going there.
In fact, it was not only the tournament, it was the Friday night ball game. Sawyer Pruitt was the last good game he pitched, right? Gave up 1 run in 7 innings. Bullpen came up, or he didn't give up no runs. He pitched 7 shutout innings and then got into trouble in the 8th. Bullpen comes in, didn't waste any time. Look at it that way. 1 pitch, grand slam. And then they got blown out the rest of the series, right? It wasn't a series that turned Texas State season around and turned the Cajun season around because they were, is that when they beat LSU? They beat LSU. No,
Will just said beat LSU. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah.
I think Will's drunk. He might be drunk.
Well, no, I mean, unless he's saying that like us beating LSU was our end all be all, which at the time we were absolutely riding high, but now, hindsight's 2020. You look back, I mean, LSU's not a good ball club. Like
they're actually an RPI killer at this point.
So, but at the time,
no, because they went up, Dave, after losing all 3 games.
Well, yes, that would be the hashtag always a bright side. It did go up. What are they? 60, 64. It went down like 5 spots today so far. But they had taken 2 out of 3 from South Alabama. Right, that was a great series. Right, only a 2-run differential. 2-run differential through the whole series, and that was the Sunday ball game, 3-1. Then they beat Houston. Maybe that was a harbinger of things to come because they had a big lead, blew it, but won in extra innings. And then the Bats just went quiet in a 1-0 ball game that Sawyer Pruitt was cruising, and I don't think he got run support in his next outing. Then he couldn't find the plate, and now he's afraid to throw strikes. And we just need to get him maybe back to a midweek ball game and let him pitch there and see if he can work things out there. Because he's got really good stuff.
Just don't hang him out to dry. If he doesn't have it, you don't have it. And that's the problem with our coaching all season.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, I said that earlier in the show. I said, why are we relying on a 19-year-old true freshman to carry the workload of a D1 program that is respected around the entire country? Excuse me. But no, what's been the most frustrating about this team is that we know it's there. I mean, you took 2 from Kansas State. You swept the Maryland team. You really with the Missouri State series first weekend of the entire year, you should have took that Saturday game. But what we haven't talked about is that Saturday game. We have seen this bullpen collapse like this multiple times this season, and we haven't brought it up at any point in this show that we saw it the very first weekend against Missouri State. As much as we wanted to wash that away and let it go, we saw it again today. So it's a recurring issue, and roles are not figured out, and we only have a month left of the regular season.
Yeah. All that is true. But back then, Matt Dags was sacrificing his best hitter in the lineup, and that's when Drew Marco was hitting 300. Now he's hitting 210, and hitting second. Why is he hitting second? 210,
Dave.
Nick,
Why are you asking questions about his thought process?
I don't understand why a guy hitting 210 is playing. Why is he hitting second? I mean, is he the best? He's got some wheels. I know that. Is he the best bunter on the team or something like that? We've got to be a reason. Well, that could be it. But otherwise, I'm not sure why you got a guy hitting 210.
I don't know, KG. I don't know.
Was he hitting second in the lineup today?
I can answer the question. And I'm a big Drew Marco fan, as weird as that. I mean, his offensive production ain't what we thought it would be this year, especially with the way, listen, who was it? Kendall Rogers came on the show before the season started, and he said his breakout player, if he had to pick one for the Cajuns, especially offensively, was going to be Drew Marco. Right. But I think Drew gives you a lot of intangibles, and I know that's a funny word to use. He plays a hell of a hot corner. He is a really good defensive third baseman, and that's a hard position to plug and play and field. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you can't just hit 210 to 220 on this team when you have an Owen Galt who hit 280 last year sitting on the bench. So, you're right in that assessment. I just think that he gives you, I like him as like a 9-hole, somebody to turn the lineup.
Well, that's where he was. He hit ninth on Sunday, but he was hitting second on Saturday.
I like him lower in the lineup because, yes, he is a hell of a bunter. If you ask anybody on the team to put a bunt down and move somebody over, Drew Marco probably would be my number one answer to get it done because he's done it all year. But the true answer is because he plays a hell of a hot corner. And I just think Dags this year has had a lot of consistency with the 4 guys that is actually playing the infield.
Which is one thing we've been asking for, Dave. So I can't bash Dags on having consistency on the infield. We're good with that.
In 23 when I was
you remember that, right?
Well, in 23 when I was, it was a big joke with me and Foot. He had a different lineup every game. We must have gotten to the 40th game of the year before he had the same lineup from the season. He never had the same lineup. Either it was someone wasn't playing a position, someone was different lineup. Maybe the shortstop was the only kid hitting the same spot, hitting 3. But other than that, I swear it took him 40 ball games not to have the same lineup back-to-back nights. We're talking just to have a different or the same lineup. They never did. Mike better just start yapping because I can do this professionally. I used to talk to myself for 3 hours a night.
You have to talk over each other, bro. At this point,
you just need to start yapping, Mike, because I'll keep on going. All right.
It's like first take, man. You just got to get in there and say what you got to say.
He just smiles.
Yeah, y'all are hitting everything on the nail. I mean, I'm just listening to everything, but everything y'all are saying is true. So I mean, I really don't have much to say on.
I do have a question, Schultz. What are you drinking?
Before we get to that, Mike, I know your big question is, we're just hoping that Nick is drinking something better than Eagle Rare. Are you drinking something better than Eagle Rare?
Look at this. I got the gold. I got the Blanton's gold.
Yes. That's
why I was asking you, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm working tomorrow, so I'm not drinking.
You were lying. I saw your.
No, it's in a larceny glass, but it's Diet Green tea. It's not.
That's boring. No. Whatever. I work tomorrow too.
I did get I did get my George T. Stagg last week. That was awesome. That's the best bottle I got. It's not open yet. 142, 15 years old, 142.2 proof. We will open it.
Can I say something respectfully?
Yeah.
Asshole. But no, jealous. I'm a bit jealous. Hey.
There we go. See, and his hobby is much more affordable than my hobby.
Mine too. Thank you. I agree. Hey, Belton, Texas had the Blanton's Gold on the shelf, not like reserve. You don't have to do anything crazy for $150 a bottle.
That's what it goes for. That's
Belton,
MSRP.
Texas. Yeah, but
you need to go back. Have you moved back to Lafayette, or are you going to Belton?
Oh no, I'm still in Houston. We're getting more of that before I go over there. That's where I get all the good stuff for cheap. Well, not cheap. It's just regular pricing,
price. You know? Yep, that's a good bottle. I had that a couple of weeks ago, and that's Bland's Gold is
That's when I start slurring. It's starting to happen, KG. I don't know if you hear it, but my enunciation's not quite as good as it was at the beginning.
You already said it earlier, Rage and Review After Dark. But no, Dave, I actually do have one more serious baseball question for you. How high would you think the RPI would have to be for the Cajuns at the end of the year for them not to have to win the tournament at this point?
Dave,
like, where would we have to be?
We have to win the tournament, Dave. That's my answer. But go ahead.
No, I think if they're 35, they'll be in.
So 35 and higher is your answer?
Yeah, you want to be, so that's what I was saying. You get to 45, take 2 out of 3 from Coastal, and you'll pop in the top 40. And then I think you'd be in.
So you're basically saying, though, like the Coastal is going to come down to Coastal. Like you can't drop the Coastal series is what you're kind of getting at.
I mean, unless you just sweep everybody else, and then you just benefit from.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, realistically.
Coastal's wake. Like I said, that's the thing about the LSU series against A&M. They lost all 3 games, but popped 9 spots. So if the Cajuns are sitting at 40, all right, which I don't think is a good spot for Sun Belt teams. I always want them in the top 40 rather than, the top 50. If they take 1 out of 3 from Coastal Carolina, they could still pop 5-6 spots just for playing them. As long as Coastal Carolina, as long as the bottom doesn't fall out of Coastal Carolina, right? They haven't lost a series all season. So, to presume that the Cajuns would do it may be a little far-fetching. But we got in 23 at 42.
Who's tweeting from Rage and Review? If that's you, Jerry, I swear to God, I will change it.
It's got to be the Jerry or Lane.
If it's Lane, we're good.
Unless this natty light right here got buttons on it to where I can send tweets, that ain't me.
Oh, that's who was the pitcher? There was that reliever who pitched incredibly well out of the bullpen.
Yeah, Blake Marshall.
Blake Marshall.
Yes, that's it. Okay, that's right. Okay.
We're changing the password. Lane, change the password. We're done.
There you go. That was 23. Okay. No, that was a great conference tournament. That's right.
So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit.
I would think top 40. If they get to be top 40, they'll get in.
I'm gonna throw this up here because we do have to touch on softball because they swept Coastal this weekend. Look, this gives you an idea of what the Cajuns could do. where Louisiana is now in the thick of things. They're in the conference tournament as of today at 8-10. Still have some work to do to be comfortably there. But Dave, the Cajuns, did you see the after game kind of rant from Coach Allie Habits after they lost to LSU? And she said it's a pity party. She called everybody out. And all of a sudden they go out to Coastal and kick their ass. Yeah, that's what I need from baseball right now, Dave.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, Coastal was 6-9 coming in, so they sweep Coastal. I guess the Cajuns were 5-10, so they were behind Coastal. But this is what Raging Cajun softball has come down to: sweeping a 500 team. Not the last.
Well, let's talk about that.
But the coach before wouldn't have played Coastal Carolina. He would have seen that the rain was coming and would have not made the trip because it hurts RPI. Lotif did that.
It was a home series, but still, I get what you're saying.
No.
Rain, we're not playing.
I mean, the Cajuns used to be a national program. Now they're a 500 team. You can't tell me that's because Jerry Glasgow left with the team. But where's where?
Thank you, Dave. I say that all the time. Nobody believes me here. It's not just because Jerry left.
Yeah, Jerry Glasgow didn't have a head coaching experience either. And, it took him a year. It took him that whole season to get going, right? They lost to LSU in the regional championship game that year, right? Whereas a few years later, or in Glasgow's second to last season, they beat LSU and went to the super regional out in Seattle, out in Washington. But Glasgow kept it going. I mean, how has it not been kept going? Here, I don't.
KG, can I give him some background here? I don't know.
I want to say one thing.
Do know a little bit of what happened last year, but that was during the season.
Do you realize how bad McNeese blowing that game to Washington may have altered the trajectory of our
Isn't that crazy?
Because there was a very realistic chance it would have been the Cajuns versus McNeese at a super regional at Lamson. Yeah. And and McNeese implodes. And then, yes, like you said, we had to go to Seattle and they took, I think we got swept. They took two games. So, I mean, that implosion by a team that had nothing to do with the Cajuns may have altered the complete softball trajectory of this program.
History.
Nobody talks about that enough.
Yeah, you may be right about that. I'm a big what if guy. I love that stuff. That's a huge what if, right? Because maybe Glasgow doesn't leave, right? It's not. So obviously with his team now, he's trying to win a national championship, almost did last year. With the Cajuns, let's be honest, it's just getting to Oklahoma City is what it was. And he had teams to compete there, right? That team had to compete. Every year early on, with Latif when I got there, and then early on in Glasgow's career, they only had one pitcher. Right, Summer was it. That was a problem. The year that they went to Seattle, they had 2 or 3 pitchers. They did, they beat LSU that year because they had more depth than LSU. LSU always had more depth in pitching, but not that year. Cajuns had more depth that year. And if they would have gotten McNeese, and nobody here would have thought McNeese would have beat them in the super regional in Lamson.
I want to say that year we beat McNeese in both of the midweek series that we played them. So, and I might be wrong, but I remember thinking about that weekend and upcoming that we actually had McNeese's number that year. So that's what gave me hope. And like I said, I might be wrong, but I mean, dude, Cajuns and McNeese super regional at Lamson would have done numbers. It would have been incredible.
It would have been fun.
You know why I'm smirking right now? Because I'm about to ask Dave a question that's loaded.
Uh-oh.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's say Allie says this is not for her. You know, she tried her best. She's going to go home with her mom, whatever, which I don't anticipate. But there has been conversations with fans within this fan base saying we need to get Mike Latif back. I say there is absolutely no way in hell that one, I would want that back, and two, that school would take him back. But as a third party disinterested person, you agree with me on that, right?
You would have to agree. I mean, the current AD is the one who fired him. He's not coming back.
But here's my question. Why hasn't he been a head coach somewhere else if that's what I'm saying.
That's right. That's exactly right. Right. And we hear more and more of these coaches just berating these young women. Like what is going on here? Right. Didn't the Virginia basketball coach, she was a woman, right? She got fired because all the players were going to quit and hit the portal.
I think Tennessee basketball too was the same thing, wasn't it? Like that
that coach did hit the portal. She was the Marshall coach, right? She got that job from Marshall. Yeah, I didn't hear those reports from Marshall, but some of these coaches just like are drill sergeants and don't want to hear it. I understand the pushing and the yelling, and you know what Izzo and the UCLA coach all talk about is like, you don't have to be their best friend because you can coach them, but boy, there's got to be an easier way, right? It doesn't look like Dusty May. Dusty May yells at his coaches or yells at his players, and he just won a national championship, right? I'll be honest with you. I don't remember Robe yelling at too many of his players, right? We were all shocked anytime he yelled at an umpire.
Well, I will say he never yelled at players directly, but let me tell you, When Robe, I have been in the locker room when he went after a team, and it started very like this, and then went very up. But it was never at a person.
Those things happen.
It was he would never call somebody a name. He would never say you suck at life.
No.
He'd never say kill yourself.
But it just seems to be. I don't know if it's more in women's sports or whatever, but it just feels like these men who coach softball feel like they can intimidate the women. Even Glasgow admitted he can be tough on the girls.
And I was about to say that. I heard some stories about Glasgow, but
but all those girls, now maybe it was for some cash, but a lot of them followed him to Texas Tech. All right.
And some didn't and went to Oklahoma. I'm just saying.
There you go. So that's right. That certain pitcher did. But you can't. So a lot of them followed. So yeah, I don't know who you can go get. But I don't think it's going to be Latif. No, I don't think no. It can't be that difficult to find. Go find another SEC assistant coach.
Well, by the way, I still think Allie has work to do. I think, and you said, she got put in a bad position, but you have to understand she was hired after the portal was closed, so she had a small sample size, and then she had to fire. She had to fire coaches because of another thing that happened that you know about. So then she had to bring in coaching a pitching coach in that hadn't coached for her. So there's a lot going on. I think, look, I think she's going to get us in the right spot, and I think we need some time for that. But I just thought it was interesting that name was brought up, and I'm like, didn't we just totally rebel against that? And all of a sudden,
ask you guys a loaded question.
Go ahead.
I don't know when it's going to be. It may be sooner than later. It may be 3 years down the road, as you just talked about, an extension. Is the next head baseball coach for the Louisiana Raging Cajuns a Robichaux?
I'm going to answer it by doing this right here. Here we go. Here, see this? Let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Y'all take this one. I'm out.
You want me to go first, Mike? I know you feel passionate about this, but so your question is, if we were to move on from Matt Dags, would the next head coach be a Robichaux?
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about Judd? Are we talking about Austin, or does it really not matter? I don't think Austin's done enough in his high school career to get that job.
You could take Justin because he has college coaching experience on the softball side, right? And then you could hire Austin as the pitching coach.
I'll let you go first, but I have a good answer.
No, but I mean, I think you just hit it. Yeah, he has coaching experience on the softball side. I don't want us to bring in a Robichaux on last name alone. I think this program is in a position, and you might agree with me, Dave, that our facilities for I'm going to call it a mid-major because it's the best way to explain.
It is. Yeah. It's mid-major. That's fine.
I think our facilities as a mid-major are good enough to attract a coach here because it's an easy place to recruit kids. Like, hey, even if we weren't even playing a baseball game, you can bring them stand on the mound at the Teague and look in the grandstand. It's a beautiful ballpark. Like, it's very easy to recruit here. We should be, and I keep going back to Kendall Rogers. Kendall Rogers said there is no reason that Cajuns baseball should not be in a regional every single year with the facilities that we have. We're actually underperforming by his standards, which I fully agree with, which is why we have this podcast. But to answer your question, I just don't want Robichaux to be hired on name alone. I think doing a national search would be what we would have to do first and foremost. That's what I hope we would do. I think Maggard has enough ties with the SEC world and that stuff. Like you mentioned with softball, right? You would go after an SEC assistant or a higher end assistant first. That's what I would hope. Because if we're just going to turn it over to a Justin Robichaux or an Austin Robichaux just off of name alone, you might as well make Gunnar Leger the head coach at that point. It just doesn't make sense.
That's not that you could do that too.
Listen, but there's due time, right? Like, these things can happen in time. I'm just saying, in the next 5 years, like we talked about the extension, if we move on from Matt Dags today or in 5 years, I would be surprised if a Robichaux was the head coach. I would expect this administration to have enough wherewithal to go after a decent coach that can get things done immediately.
And I have no idea if either one of them, and it kind of feels like Justin left because he wanted to spend more time with the family. Same thing with Austin. I presume he's had maybe opportunities to coach college, and as much as coaching high school is its thing, that's not coaching college, right? It's you're always playing in the area. Maybe there's a little travel in there, but very little.
So I'm gonna just say this,
I don't even
Dave,
know if they want that.
And you're not. I mean, you might not be familiar with the high school ball around here, but there is a certain high. There's a big time high school program that the head coaching availability is going to open up at the end of this season, and Austin Robichaux is tied to be the name. Hold on a second.
Are we talking about in the Lafayette area?
Yes,
or in
the Lafayette area. The Lafayette area. Nothing's
Lafayette
official
area,
yet.
right.
Nothing's official yet, so I won't go into too much detail. But there is a certain coaching opportunity that will be opening up, and Austin is one of the names on the short list. So, I mean, he is going to get a chance to move from LCA to a high esteemed program if he chooses to take the job. So, I mean, he's going to have a chance. And like I said, in the next decade or so, he's going to be able to build up his name enough to be in those conversations. But to answer your question, in the next 3 or 5 years, I don't think it's there yet.
All right.
So I'm going to answer it this way. Sorry, Mike, I'm cutting if you have anything to add, but
he's jealous that you got the Blanton's gold.
He is, actually. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So I've known Justin and I've known Not and the whole family since they were babies. I pick them up at school and all that. I love them to death. The thing is, for me, I think we got caught. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think we made a couple of emotional hires for the right reasons. I think Dags was an emotional hire because who else are you going to hire after Rowe passes away unexpectedly? Like the natural answer is Dags. I think in the same fashion. And by the way, I was a big fan of hiring Dags at the time, so I'm not saying that we were wrong. I'm just saying we made an emotional hire that I think was the right call at that time.
He had some success at Sam Houston,
right? So
that's not an emotional hire. That was a legit hire.
Well, who else did you hire? Like interview?
Well, I'm not hire, AD, but so I wouldn't know. But I was just familiar with Dags.
So I think again, not the wrong hire. I'm just saying it was sort of tied to emotional a little bit. Right?
Well, it was emotional because it was Matt Dags was coming in to take over for his mentor and the guy who saved his life. Forget his career.
100%. So I'm not. So that's why mad
it's emotional. Right.
That's why I'm trying to frame this right. So then you have Coach Alley, who after Glasgow left, I was a big fan of Coach Alley. Not saying she's the wrong hire, but that was a little bit emotional too, because Alabama coach coming back, her mom.
That is an emotional hire.
So absolutely. I think for me, you know what, if Ott or Jutt come back as a pitching coach and then eventually work themselves into a head coaching position, I'm okay with that. But I think somebody commented in here that we don't have the money for a national search. I don't think you need a national search at this point. I think some very well-regarded assistant coaches at huge programs will be looking to Louisiana if we ever have an opening in either one of those programs. So I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's a money thing. I think it's
what is the cost when you have to do a national search? What does that mean? Not enough money to pay?
I don't even know what that is. Right. What is that cost? Okay. Like you do it a LinkedIn? I don't know. Like what is that?
Well, but the point is, so here's the reason you pay a consultant. Okay. In case you do the Freedom of Information Act, right, and get the emails. Right. The emails are between them and a private company.
So then you can't.
They don't get it.
FOIA it, right?
So then you don't have to worry about that until later on, and maybe you get the 3 people instead of the 10 people that were considered.
Right. But to get back to your original point, I would love them to be a part of the program. I know there's been some separation for one reason or another where they're not as inclusive in the program as they were at one point. Doesn't matter. I don't care. That's all other stuff. But would I want them to be back in some capacity as a coach? Yes. Head coach? No. Like I don't want to go the Louis Cook hire, which everybody in football wants Louis Cook, who's been a coach at Notre Dame High School for the past 50 years and very successful, to be the head coach at UL. I just don't. I think we're a bigger step up from having a college coach come in and be a head coach at UL.
Did he retire?
I think
Didn't Louis Cook retire?
I don't know.
No, he's still coaching.
No, he's still coaching. But the point is that they always go back, we should have hired Louis Cook. Well, come on, dude. Like, I think we have enough candidates out there that have college coaching experience currently to come in and step in. Now, if one of them come in as an assistant and eventually take over, 100%. But right now, I think there's a bigger market out there for all of our programs than having to hire from somebody who's currently in a high school.
Let Billy Napier be the example. That dude had no ties to Louisiana. We go after him, and he turns Louisiana into a top 25 team. Not overnight. Mm-hmm. It took him a couple years, but it was the best run. Dave, you said it earlier, best run of 3 to 5 years of Cajuns football we've ever seen. And it was done by a man that had no ties to Lafayette, Louisiana. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing to go out in the world and find a guy who can come in here and win. I'm getting back to my point, honestly. That is the point I'm making. Please go out in that situation and find a guy that can transform this team overnight. Because Dave, you know this more than anybody. The coach that you would bring in has to be able to go into the portal overnight, right? Because you have to be able to refill a roster overnight, especially one that might be depleted as in the Cajuns, right? So, I would hope that, the administration would do enough to do their due diligence. But I think, Nick, what you were trying to get at as far as money goes is the NIL budget that we have. And we haven't talked about this in the entire conversation. The Cajuns' NIL budget is depleted, and it's hard to draw in a decent qualified coach when you see the numbers that you have in order to spend to try to get kids out the portal, because it's almost non-existent. You're basically banking on hope, and you hope that the kid comes here and enjoys his time. So I think that's
not sure if you guys realize this, but there is a team that may be the same thing going over at LSU, as crazy as that is. The baseball is on the back end of that NIL. And
by the way,
Jay Johnson has won
they're
2
in
out
a
of
loss.
3 national championships. I know they're not doing well this year.
Budget-wise, they're at a loss.
I was told, although they just got swept, I don't know why, if something happens with A&M this year that doesn't go nearly as far, and they never do, they're going to make an offer to Jay Johnson. Like, Jay Johnson is going to get a huge offer. Like, he is the least paid person on that campus right now, and he's won the most.
And by the way, your basketball coach you just hired, the cheater, hadn't signed one basketball player yet.
Nothing.
UL has more signed players in the portal than he does. That's insane. He has no roster. But I was going to say, when you look at LSU baseball, everybody's like, oh, we're the best ever. They are not profitable. Or maybe they are by
they are. No,
a couple hundred.
They're a loss leader. So out of all the sports over there at LSU, only football and men's basketball turns a profit.
Isn't that incredible?
So I'm kind of shocked. that gymnastics doesn't turn a profit. So maybe that sport costs a lot. I don't know with the equipment, whatever the case may be. But no, baseball, I think, 2 years ago, they're a loss leader. They lose $1 million. Okay. But the amount of money that they get in publicity far outweighs.
Oh, for sure.
Think about, what is their budget? Like $250 million, and we just lose $1 million on baseball? That's nothing compared to, and again, up until they started having to pay players, LSU was one of the handful of teams that was profitable. Like, they gave money back
to the university, right?
They were giving like $5 to $10 million back.
I think they're like $2 million in the green, like as a whole.
There you go. Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that is ridiculous. Yeah.
Anyway, and here we are just trying to get $1 million for basketball, which is what you need to be competitive at the mid-major level, not even at the high major level. So, yeah, that's crazy. Boys, I know you got to go, KG. Mike, we cut you off. Dave.
Well said,
Mike.
Good
we
job.
appreciate you.
I said everything I needed to say tonight.
Renee said he had more airtime than you. No, Mike. We love you being here, brother. We know you're here for baseball, but like, share, subscribe. I'll give final thoughts to KG and Mike, and then we'll call it a day. KG, I have no other words. What you got?
No, I'll go back to what I said earlier before Dave jumped on. I just challenged the team to treat every weekend series going forward as if you're in the tournament. You're going to have to take 2 of 3 on, and you can't get swept. We talked about that. Getting swept would put you in a deep hole, and you're already in a hole to begin with. So, but I'll end on a positive note. Once again, softball, congratulations. Way to answer the bell. I know Allie dropped the gauntlet on you. You picked it up and you ran with it. You got a sweep this weekend to put yourself back in the fight. Cajuns baseball, though, show up to the ballpark on Tuesday. Let's have a good showing against Grambling, and we'll take that to Jonesboro, and let's see what happens.
All right, Mike, what you got?
I think the pitching bounces back. I want to see that offense stay hot. That's kind of the thing. We got to see it this weekend. I want to see that keep going the rest of the year. Pitching, I think, will be all right. You got to fix the back end of the bullpen, but you got to start winning now.
And I'll say it now. Shut up, Dave. It was a good conversation, though, man. Love having you on. I was going to say
you can find me at Shut Up Dave on Twitter, but you beat me to it.
Where can our fans find you? You know I'm going to let you pimp it out.
Yeah, Locked On Sunbelt on YouTube. You're the one drinking. I'm sober. Schultze-cast and Locked On Sunbelt, Instagram, TikTok. I do all those, I don't even think they're millennial things. They're Gen Z things, right?
Yeah.
All start. I just figured out last week how to post to Locked On Sunbelt and have that go to Schultze-cast. Unbelievable. I'm so proud of myself. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. Go Cajuns.
I appreciate you, old man. For my boy, Dave. By the way, hashtag Shut Up Dave whenever he says something stupid. For Mike, for KG.
You say that to me all the time, whether I say something stupid or not.
I am Nicholas. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Go Astros. And until next time, go Cajuns.